going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. This is not the state of wrestling, but don't you touch that dial. We still got Jake fucking DeMarco. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, my friend? I have some,
and we got an extra. You got an extra. You dragged in an extra from your side of the internet. From your side of the internet. So introduce our third party here.
Yes, I've got the one, the only, the man in my manwich, CODY ONIDI 316.
Give me a hell yeah.
What's going on? This is for, I guess, not posting gaming content. You said I better do extra work now.
Yes.
I'm fired.
So, even though I can't fire you, we're going to put you
don't
through
play
the
Battlefield.
ringer.
Don't play Battlefield. They'll kick you out of the game after 16 hours and tell you to go shower. Funniest thing I saw today.
Wait,
anyways,
I could not. I thought that was a joke at first, but that is legitimately
that is a
true.
legit thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But we cannot divert. We have a singular topic podcast. When was the last time we did this? At least on my side of the fence.
Oh,
we are
ages ago.
We are going to talk about something that is so popular all the time for any wrestlers that have a good head on their shoulders. It's so trigger inducing to the mud flaps, the people that flap their gums about the mud show. And it was punctuated by a very beautiful and heartfelt backstage photo that was taken after Saturday night's main event. But we will get to those folks. We are doing not only the Tony Fumble Rumble, the definitive top 16 Tony Fumble Rumble rundown. So you know what this is. This is people that spent either a couple of seconds or a couple of months or a couple of years in AEW and then saw the light, came to the big company, and what they've done and how they've been produced and presented is the word I'm looking for. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure it will make me unpopular with all the right people.
Things are ever evolving, right?
Evolve. That was a thing for about 2 minutes, and that's me, a WWE fan, saying it. So what I'm going to do, because I suck at directing traffic on a 3-person podcast, I'm going to try and keep it nice and neat. I'm going to say a name, why I think they should be on the list, their Wikipedia, since they came back to WWE, what they've achieved, etc. And then I'm going to open it up to the floor for some discussion. Now, I'll say right off the bat, number 60, and I'm not going to number them all. I'm going to lose my place because some of them are in groups and blah, blah, blah. But the first one is kind of a cheat, and I will admit it, because she's never technically worked for AEW, but she was prominently featured on All In a match with with Madison Rayne, Tessa Blanchard, and Britt Baker. Of course, I'm talking about Chelsea Green.
Ooh.
First ever women's U.S. champion. Currently, one half of the AAA mixed tag team champions, as we'll talk about later more in depth, and a former women's tag team champion. Has her own faction, very, very prominently featured on both SmackDown and NXT. What do we think of Chelsea Green?
Social media superstar of the year, tied with Drew at one point as well. McIntyre, that's good keeping in place you want to be. She has an amazing online presence because she's one of the greatest at the simplest of things. And what I mean by that is, with the utmost respect, when I say simplistic, I mean she maximizes her minutes. Aldis has said it, but she actually practices it. Every time she's on screen, she makes it matter. Every time she's in front of your eyes, she's doing something to evolve her character. And Evolve lasted less than Rampage, might I add you. So she evolves her character. And I'll give you a prime example. So she was the U.S. champ, the longest reigning, and she's trying to stop Julia. So again, we have consistency in storytelling. And then she's being displayed week after week. Why? Because now she's going to go for the main title, the main women's title. She wants to go after Jade and so on. So the point is, again, there's an upward trajectory of her. She connects with the fans. She is realistic, and she does amazing work. If you need her to be funny, she's hilarious. If you need her to be serious, she could be a pain in the ass. If you need her to be a heel, she could be a thorn in your side. You need her to get cheered, she'll be the ultimate babyface.
And in a really weird way, she maintains that heel character even when she's in front of a crowd that loves her.
Yes.
I'll throw this one over to CODY because you and I have talked about this before, but with AAA being WWE's brand new shiny toy, and obviously they're going to mix in some of their own talent to get more eyes on the AAA product. It's sort of a shot. It's sort of a shot in the arm for anybody that they choose to go down there. Obviously, they chose Dominic Mysterio. Obviously, they chose the Garzas to be the tag champions for like half a second. They made Corey Graves the sort of the voice of AAA for under the TKO banner. So introducing not only new champions, but a new concept for WWE fans with mixed tag team championships. It's a real shot in the arm and a really, why don't you go out there and make us look good and represent us for somebody like a Chelsea Green, who's never hit the top, but has been so prominently featured in the mid card, she might as well be a main eventer.
Yes, absolutely.
I do agree with that. My thing with WWE is though that it's not her. It's like they need to do better on capitalizing her because she's probably one of the most talented women in that division. So I think it was AEW's loss because they could have signed her long term and she could have been a big part of their division over in AEW. But I think everything, how she presents herself, is entertaining as all hell. But the WWE doesn't value her, I think, as much as she's talented.
But I do think of anybody that's defined in the mid card of WWE, of anybody in that section of you're not going to be a world champion right now, they've done everything else with her that they can. She said, and again, Jake and I have already talked about this, so I'm more throwing this one to Cody again. She came out a while ago and said basically something along the lines of, I don't want to be Cody Rhodes. I want to be the Miz for the women's division. Yes. And I think that's a hell of a thing to aspire to. And she's going to boost everybody around her. She's going to bring attention to matches that may not necessarily have attention. And as I said, for somebody who's not in the main event picture, they've given her the AAA mixed tag titles. We'll talk about her partner later on. She's not only been the US champion, but she was the one they chose to introduce that title. It's not in the greatest position at the moment with Julia because creatively they're a little messy, but to be the person that establishes a new title. They did it twice with Seth Rollins, and if you're being mentioned in the same category as somebody like a Seth Rollins, you're not doing too bad. She was one of the women's tag team champions that didn't just like fade into the background, other than a world championship presentation, because there is a log jam at the top of the women's card in WWE with Jade, Bianca, Naomi, Ripley, Becky, those types. For somebody that's not quite in that on that top shelf yet, they've done everything else you could possibly ask of her. She's one of the ones that they send out. We got some talk shows to do. Go do the talk shows. You want to do some like Kids' Choice Awards. You want to go do some Make-A-Wishes, not on like a John Cena level, but like people love her. And I don't think this is going to be the way I phrase it quite a lot. As much as she's been given and as much as many balls as she's taken with and ran, pause, I don't think she gets any of this in AEW.
And no, she never would have that opportunity. And Cody, you managed to say something too, not because I'm jumping on your coattails here because you were saying previously with Chelsea, it wasn't so much that she was outright the greatest, but I like the way you put it. She's the greatest at being knowledgeable about everything. Like she's a threat in every aspect. So she may not be a 10 out of 10, but she's a 7 out of 10 in every single attribute possible. Like there's
which is better than being a 10 at one thing.
Yeah. Oh, great. You're a 10 at striking, but you have no charisma, you know, that kind of thing. And so she's good on the mic. She's good in PR situations. You can dress her up and make her the belle of the ball and have her go to the Capitol and she'll fit right in being a representative. And then you can have her do Make-A-Wish and the kids are excited to see her. You know what I'm saying? Like she is the every woman. She can fill any role. That is so rare and hard to come by that they should be worshiping the ground she walks on in a way. Like
I agree.
She is a big generational talent. She's gotten some of the shittiest things at times and turned them into somehow a work of gold.
The never-ending feud that she had with Michin that ended up in the dumpster match.
Yes.
Nobody could sell. This is where I think the Miz comparison is so apt. Nobody can sell you're a dickhead getting your comeuppance like Chelsea Green popping up out of the dumpster and like, oh my God, I have to run to the back and get myself decontaminated. This is so fucking gross. And like, and have it be like, for like,
I'm still laughing. I'm
simultaneous-
sitting here now chuckling. Like that
simul-
shows.
simultaneously, the crowd loves her and is willing to take her as the dickhead that got her comeuppance at the same time. So what I will say, they only had her for one match. They had her in there with Tessa Blanchard, Madison Rayne, and Britt Baker, who are in very different ways, and we're going to leave the Tessa drama aside for a second, but she's a fantastic wrestler. Madison Rayne is criminally underrated. Britt Baker was the first woman AEW signed to a contract when it became a thing, so they were at least treating her like the star at the time. So to see Chelsea Green be seen in that echelon, and they even go back now, and when they mention that match, it's like, oh, AEW's rich history of women's fatal four ways, which is bullshit, but it sort of set the tone. And there's other people that were on All In as well. Like Rey Mysterio was on All In, Damian Priest was at All In, and so like honorable mentions to all of them as well. But I think Chelsea Green.
When you speak of great pro wrestlers, I think a lot of these fans nowadays will just look at their in-ring talent instead of everything around it. Because I actually think the in-ring aspect, while it's important, I think there's other things that are more important to it, like being a good promo, being versatile.
It depends though, because I will
babyface and heel.
I
think
hate to bring
you need
up
that charisma. Because you can
bring
have
up
a
somebody's
good in-ring.
I hate to bring up somebody's name.
Charisma.
I hate to bring up somebody's name that's going to make everybody roll their eyes. You can have it the other way, and I hate to say that the prime example is Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit as a character was boring as hell, and the guy was a killer, no pun intended, bell to bell. You've got that right now with somebody like Anelia Dragunov, who's weird and sporadic and all that kind of thing, but really, you get him in the ring and you're watching him chase the match that he had with Gunther during COVID.
Yeah.
So you can have stars that are, my character is what I do in the ring, but that's like, it's one genre of wrestlers and not even, and you know what?
I think that goes so far. Like how far can that go though? Like, because if you're not a good storyteller,
fair,
like how far can it?
It's absolutely a fair point, but I think somebody like that can exist on a roster. I think when you put together an entire roster of gymnasts and say, this is AEW, it's a different story, because one or two characters doing that makes it stick out. If everybody's doing it, nobody sticks out.
No offense, a lot of them don't have the charisma like MJF does. Like MJF is
for sure
incredible.
But here's the thing where I'll say too, and this is not a denigration of Chelsea Green at all. I do not think she's a top 5 bell-to-bell wrestler, and it almost works in her favor because you don't sit there and pick apart her match. You watch for an expression or a funny moment, or when the opponent finally got her and she had that oh shit look on her face.
Yeah.
So I think there's no good way to say it. Her not being a 10 out of 10 wrestler complements her character.
Absolutely. And you can see her take on the men. We've seen her intergender. Like, look at Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah, you sent me the Penta matches, and I like
breaks her arm.
And see, here's the thing though, right? Here's the thing as well though. It's like, okay, we know she can do a hardcore match, but she can make a hardcore match fun as well.
Yes.
Like some people have sent me like highlight reel because they don't. One person, and it's not on this list obviously, but one person that they don't use particularly well is Candice LeRae.
Yes.
And everybody starts throwing around all this
she's
like
a producer now.
Well, that's fantastic. I didn't know that, but she's not used in the ring. And everybody, whenever they say, "Oh my God, don't you know that she did this and this and this?" and they'll send you this like highlight reel of her doing like death matches and whatever, and it's like
with the Young Bucks,
fantastic. Yeah. Not even the fact that it's with the Young Bucks, just like look.
No, but I'm saying that's where she was getting kicked in the face with the shoe covered with thumbtacks, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
that's where the bloody head gash is from.
They've definitely graduated from that shit.
Right?
Oh, now we got fish tanks.
PWG
but my point
forever.
being is like, it's like you can do that. But Chelsea Green doesn't have to do that anymore. Like when you're on the indies, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, you got to do something like that to stick out. Priscilla Kelly with the tampon, etc.
Yes, anybody can get hit in the head with garbage, but
yes,
not anybody can make
fun?
People. No, not even that. Not everybody can make it so that people pay to see you get hit in the head with shit. And then to do it on a big stage, that's even harder. She sold that freaking garbage match that should have anybody else would have died a death in that. She came out repping Cactus Jack. It's like, oh my God, she has custom gear for just this one match. Look at how much effort she's putting in.
But like that's the thing too. Like not to get all serious for a second, but she's got respect for what she's doing. Because when was the last time we saw what's the dumpster match everybody remembers? It's Cactus Jack, Chainsaw Charlie versus the New Age Outlaws at WrestleMania. I want to say 14.
Yeah. And on Raw, I think they had a rematch too, but they pushed him off the stage with the dumpsters. You know,
that was to set the match up.
Yeah, so
that was to set the match up. And again, very much the same thing. Like she compares herself to the Miz. You could very easily compare Chelsea Green to the New Age Outlaws. Not the best wrestlers in the world, especially people love to get on Road Dogg now because, oh my God, how dare somebody come on Twitter and talk about their religion? But Jesus Christ, Road Dogg was the template
I see what you did there.
Road Dogg was the template for Enzo Amore. And Enzo Amore, Jake, say your thing. Say your thing about Enzo Amore.
Hey, he can get so much more attention just by doing the little shuffle instead of coming off the top rope.
Without breaking a sweat. So,
SAWFT. Yeah, exactly.
Chelsea Green, better off in WWE?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
All right. That's one. Are you guys buckled up for this ride?
This laid the groundwork, though. That was more of an introduction to the entire topic as well. As much as we made it about Chelsea, but that was a broader subject.
She's such a good example. I wanted to make her the first one. Perfect. Now, I'm not going to say the name first. I'm going to say the history at AEW first, right? This person has a 1-2 record. The 1-2 record is a loss to Ricky Starks on Dark, a loss to Scorpio Sky on Dynamite, and one victory, which must have been over a jobber because the opponent isn't even listed on Wikipedia or Cage Match. This person also was brought in to work AEW without ever having an American visa, never checked by AEW, never checked by himself, and thus was never paid for any of his time in AEW. AEW knew him as Ben Carter. We know him as Nathan Frazier.
Yes.
One-time Heritage Cup champion, two-time NXT Tag Team champion. One of the most, I would say, and you guys can correct me if you disagree, one half of one of the most anticipated call-ups from NXT in quite some time, bringing Fraxium up to SmackDown.
One of the greatest tag teams in
and he had
NXT
a good one-on-one
history
with Dragon.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's gonna touch on another point I want to say in a second.
Yeah, but they Frazier and obviously Kid A, we get into all of it with Axiom, but we're talking about just him at this point, but still you have to go with Fraxium, obviously. They were tag team, not just of the year, but you can even argue like, hey, we're halfway through this decade. It could be tag team of the decade, but the performances they put on with the depth and breadth of matches that we got from them. Think about how many defenses they had. Think about how many teams they took on. They were wrestling weekly, PLEs, on SmackDown, on Raw. Like they had them all over that European tour. They are incredible because Nathan Frazier was given the chance to show that side of him, as where in AEW, I remember the squash match initially, and I was like, oh, they're going to go ahead and tell a story here. But no, they wanted him to be the jobber's jobber.
Yeah.
That was their plan with Frazier.
I will say, and they did the same thing with Roxanne Perez. They did the same thing with, what's another good example I can think of? They're doing it with Javon Evans occasionally. Both of these guys, but specifically Nathan, were brought up to be sort of the other guy in the ring for people on Raw and SmackDown far before their call up. And I'm going to throw it to Cody in a second, but he brought up the point that I was going to make. Nathan Frazier has been used so many times as the intro guy. Dragunov started his US Open Challenge after Sami Zayn started it. The first or second opponent was Nathan Frazier. Hell of a match. Ray Phoenix, who we're going to talk about later, trust me, came to SmackDown. His introductory opponent was Nathan Frazier. There's only a few people that get put in that spot. It used to be solidified Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Then it kind of went to the Miz after Ziggler, went elsewhere, became Nick Nemeth, etc. It became the Miz. They're already bestowing this very, very reliable. Not only do we rely on you, but we rely
Prestigious
on
in
you.
a way, yeah.
Prestigious in a way. Gatekeeper
Yes.
Gatekeeper in the most positive way possible. Like
A Kurt Angle.
Not keeping the gate, but holding the gate open for whoever's coming in next.
Yes.
We need to show what X person can do.
The Dolph Ziggler role, the Miz,
yes.
even Big Show at times. Kane served that role for a while.
Depending on the style of wrestler, you get the big guys in there.
Kane was one of the better of those because he could wreck you or he could make you look like $1 million and then choke slam you and win at the end. But it was like, oh, you got the better of Kane. You're good. Like he often gets overlooked, but Frazier.
We don't like his politics, so we're not allowed to say anything nice about him. You got to remember that.
He had a shotgun advertisement that he was a sponsorship. That's the word I'm looking for because English. And he was showing how great it is for home defense. And he blew up a watermelon that looked like Mr. Bill. And oh no, Mr. Bill.
That should have been his pyro the whole time. Instead of fire, just have like watermelons shooting out of the ring posts.
But one of the best things I saw coming from Nathan Frazier was the fact that he said, because everyone was like, oh, what happened to this guy, Ben Carter? And this went viral. Frazier said, well, he went on to fulfill his lifelong dream of signing with WWE. He got to, they're like, oh, you weren't even used for so many years. He's like, and guess what? I got to spend valuable time with my family during a worldwide closure, and I got paid for it. And then they're like, but look how long it took you to be used. He's like, and I won the Heritage Cup. And they're like, yeah, but they only saw you. He's like, and I was a 2-time NXT Tag Team Champion. And we formed one of the best teams in recent memory. I'm doing just fine.
That were voted Tag Team of the Year over the Young Bucks, which stuck up every AEW fan's
NXT
ass.
Tag Team of the Year. No.
Yeah.
Tag Team of the Year. Like you said,
exactly.
it was no qualifiers, no BS, no fists,
I would
off
say
flips.
That's definitely going to upset AEW fans, and they do not like that kind of stuff,
Would it be fair? And because they're not in NXT anymore, and the NXT TNA relationship is kind of a cool thing that Jake and I have talked to death. Obviously, like Nathan Frazier and Axiom, they don't do it as much on the main roster, but on NXT, they really hyped up the fact that they were a thrown together team. They didn't get along. They always teased breaking up. Instead, the teams that they fought broke up, which I thought was a great gimmick for a little while. But you got to say that they set the groundwork, set the framework for a team like the team we think we're going to get with Javon Evans and Leon Slater.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. And think about that. Being excited about that is just like, there's so many great possibilities, so many things to come. And that's because of guys like this getting the chance to lay out the groundwork and be amazing.
But I mean, but think about it, like right now, like Nathan Frazier and Axiom, great team. A-Kid obviously came over from the NXT UK. Ben Carter gets not paid in AEW, which is terrible, and more should be said about that. But they come together, they form this team of like really, really British. Remember when they had Nathan Frazier doing the like quirky facts, and he was like a news guy doing quirky facts to like rile up his opponents and shit like that. And it was like Ben, whatever his name is, the British news guy that's annoying. But then like we pulled him out of that, we put him with Axiom. We don't have anything for either one of them. Axiom does math. All right, fantastic. Put them together. It doesn't matter what the characters are because they're a kick-ass tag team.
Yeah.
And then they go on. And I will say, people have said, oh, if they're so good, how come they're not the SmackDown tag team champions yet? Fair point. Absolutely fair point. But the thing is, SmackDown more than Raw. Raw's got a lot of work to do. SmackDown has made a really good effort in saying, look at all our fucking teams.
Yes.
Street Profits are in there. Motor City Machine Guns, which everybody thought were going to AEW, so they're an honorary mention as well.
Yeah.
Different iterations of the
bloodline. They thought it was a done deal. Like they had that so much on lock. They would never consider going to WWE. That's anti everything they stand for. And it's like, really?
But now they can go back and do retro TNA stuff as well because of the business deal that is all of a sudden a bad thing because anyways, besides the point. But you have but they've done a really good thing, and we'll talk about this in a different pod. But it hasn't always worked, but they've done a really good job of trying to really underline the tag team division on SmackDown. Like I say, Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits, DIY, different iterations of the Bloodline, the MFTs, that kind of thing. Everybody's sort of been in and out type of idea.
Sorry, you said MFTs and I yawned. Oh my god.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but it's okay because JC Mateo looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's fine.
But what are we learning? That jobbers in AEW become champions in WWE, or is it
fantastic? But here's my point though. You mentioned all of those names, and the name that kind of gets forgotten. I mean, they had Mellow Don't Miz, which was a thing for a while. You have Pretty Deadly, which isn't a thing right now because Elton Prince is still injured. Best wishes to him. The bottom line is who hardly gets left out of that conversation and who has had bangers with all of those teams. It's Fraxium.
Yep.
Because Fraxium versus the Wyatt Six. Though the Wyatt Six is like the prominently featured thing on SmackDown, which is winding a lot of people up. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But like they're the team that even when they go in there to lose, you're still behind them. You know there's a 0.000 chance of them winning, but you kind of want that 0.0001. It's not going to happen, but it is what it is. Yeah, props to Cody for like jumping ahead to the major point that I wanted to make. He's used as the introductory opponent, and that in and of itself is a huge shot in the arm. They will be tag team champions at some point. I think one of them was the speed champion at one point as well, but I didn't put it on here because I'm not sure that it was Frazier. I think it might have been Axiom.
Yeah.
So Nathan Frazier slash Ben Carter, at the very least, is actually getting paid in WWE, but doing better in WWE.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next one is an interesting one because for the longest time, I would have said, what the hell are they doing with him? But again, now,
you know that Tony doesn't fumble. It's just AEW's roster is too stacked to include everybody, right? That's what you were going to say?
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God. Here's the thing. The one thing, and it's because of the people that we're mentioning tonight, for the longest time, WWE has either been accused of never using luchadors, or anytime they bring in a luchador, they're just saying, oh, I guess they're getting ready to kick Ray out because they need another Ray. Definitely not a thing.
You can only have one luchador at a time, remember?
Lots of luchadors. We even got fake luchadors. That's how much we love luchador culture.
Exactly.
But one of them, no, to be fair,
how dare you call Dominic fake?
Dominic's also not ex-AEW. AEW couldn't handle a talent like Dominic. Here's the thing. With how bad they've ruined Jon Moxley, I would have Dominic Mysterio go over Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
But anyways, where I'm trying to be a bit fair with this is somebody that I would have said, what the fuck are they doing with him? They haven't really done anything with him. He's the fifth member of a faction that never gets on TV. And now all of a sudden he leaves that faction, teams up with AJ Styles, and he's a tag team champion. Now I'm talking about Dragon Lee. What do we think of Dragon Lee?
Ooh, that one's a tough one.
So he's someone that
I don't know if they utilized him at all correctly until just recently, maybe. And even then, I don't like just random pairing for tag teams. I think you should just be a actual tag team.
Wait. Hold on. Cody, you're gonna piss off CM Punk with talk like that because you're saying you don't like AJ Lee?
Now you got another fan base that's mad at me.
We're stacking him up high.
Stacking him up like cornwood. Guys, stop picking on Cody. Stop picking on Cody. It's fine. Anyways, but no, this is where I want to balance out the list here and say I'm not being a complete dickhead.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, what's his name? Dragon Lee would not be on this list. Now, in the past 2 weeks, I don't know what's happened to the LWO entirely. Nobody's really said anything about them until recently. Rey Mysterio came back and he's fighting his kid again. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But Dragon
From what
Lee
I saw
went,
internally, LWO was not like over, but just currently just like not
it's on the shelf type
Yeah, it's
thing.
just not a factor
Because
into
everybody's
anything.
everywhere.
Yes.
But Dragon Lee, you can't say that they're doing nothing with them when they decide, to Cody's point, it's not wonderful. It is a thrown together tag team. It doesn't come with much story behind it. But when you look at the brass tacks of it, okay, we were doing nothing with you. Now we're going to pair you with former WWE champion, TNA legend, first ballot Hall of Famer, AJ Styles, and you're going to hold tag team gold with him. It's a little bit of a edge as the tag team champion with Hulk Hogan, but it's an overcorrection. But when WWE overcorrects, the very least I can say is they saw there was a problem. The problem was they weren't using them, but the problem was AEW wasn't using them for anything either, other than for like, all-star tags and
Yeah.
stuff and such. Because wasn't
Exactly.
he was teamed up with Roosh and the Ingobernables or whatever the fuck
Los
they are?
Ingobernables.
Los
Los
de
Ingobernables.
Gabon.
Yeah, I thought it was like Los Gobble Knobs or something. Knob Gobblers. That's what it is. Los Knob Gobbler. I knew it would come back to me. Gobble Gobble, getting in the turkey season. Knob Gobblers. That's what that must be, turkey.
But even they are better than the Don Callis family. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Los Knob Gobblers are, definitely better than Don Callis. No, Dragon Lee's an interesting case, like you said, because the recent tag title win, his inclusion in a lot of what they're doing in AAA, and he's had a prominent role in the AAA stuff in the sense that they're giving him mic time, they're letting him craft a story and a narrative with some of the wrestlers down there. They're like week to week type shows that they've been broadcasting. I guess he's been more of a regular facet of, like, he's been more than just an ambassador. Like, he's actually like a factor in the story. And then so is El Grande Americano and Los Americanos. I guess they're heavily involved in the week to week as well. And the regular
Grande Americano thing is so hysterical that it went immediately from, oh my God, this is so fucking offensive because it's 2025 and everything's offensive, to like, look at the exact crowd that's supposed to be offended by this and they're over as hell.
Yeah, they're eating it up. So,
like, I'm not going to speak for the exact audience that is apparently offended by this, who are giving them like Road Warrior pops in the building.
But it's not the ones that love lucha. I'm telling you that much.
The El Grande thing, I know this is like a different like sport in general, but like the El Grande thing with the offensiveness reminds me of Washington Commanders getting rid of the name Washington Redskins thing because it's offensive, and everyone else was like, oh, it's offended. But then Native Americans are going to sue for discrimination for taking away the name.
Yeah, and they're like, we like this. We want this to be there. How dare you not know that you're offended? You're too stupid to realize you're offended. That's what it is. I'm offended for you, you dipshit. Can't you tell?
Oh my God.
That's exactly.
That's how
I
it
don't know
comes
why it
across.
reminded me of that, but I think they're comparable in some way.
No, you're right.
What I will say coming out of this, because Dragon Lee, like I say, 2 weeks ago wouldn't have been on this list. One that didn't make the list, to show that I'm being a little bit fair here, did not make the list, is Rusev. They need to decide what they're doing with Rusev.
It's very hot, cold, but all right, we're going to make him the Redeemer, but then we're not going to do any of the things that make him the Redeemer. Like, we just hinted at it and used the name briefly.
Little mini three-way feud with Penta, Dominic, and Rusev. I thought that was...
It is, but
funny.
it's more so they wanted to do some things that would have been disqualifications if it was going to be just Dom and Penta. So they needed a third person. And that's no disrespect to Rusev.
Yeah,
of course.
It did nothing for Penta, even got somewhat over with it, but it did nothing for Rusev. Rusev looks like an idiot because he lets go of the accolade, thinking that, all right, the bell rings. Usually he always holds on to the hold, but he lets go of it immediately, celebrating, I won, and it's Dom hitting the bell. So like, Dom looks even more cunning and smart and swift by doing this, and Rusev just kind of looks like the big idiot, even though, like, really, he should be celebrating. He won the IC title, he thought, but I don't know. He comes across more like an
little
oaf.
hot take.
Yeah,
I know this isn't what this is about, but Dominic might arguably be the best booked wrestler in wrestling right now.
Yeah, I don't think
But
AEW.
is that even a question?
But his counterpart in AEW. Think about it. Like if you go 1-to-1, you've got a parent
Don't say
that has
Hook.
it's Hook.
Don't say Hook.
It's
I'll
Hook.
slap you.
No, but
They're
I'm
not even on the same.
No,
like,
they're
and
not.
I don't dislike
That's the
Hook.
point of the proof here. That's the thing. Like Hook should be where Dominic is. They started almost about the same time. They're both sons of very famous wrestlers. Like they both had chances being pushed because Tony pushed Hook. You can't tell me he didn't push that little bastard. But Hook has just none of the charisma or stature or aura that his dad has. And they don't know how to handle him, as where Dominic he started off as a goofy son of a bitch that I did not want to see on the TV. He took his lickings from Seth. Remember him and Buddy beat the shit out of Dom. They whipped him from pillar to post. AEW
Brock
tried that
Lesnar
with
F5'd
Hook.
him into a wall.
Yeah, he
went from the
beat
worst
that
thing on
boy
TV to the best thing on TV.
because he put in his licks and his dues and his time, and he grew up in front of our eyes. As where Hook, it feels like they just forget about him for the better part of a year, and then they try and reintroduce him occasionally. And that's the thing. So AEW, Dragon Lee, he didn't work in AEW. That's for damn sure.
Here's the thing. And I know this has nothing to do with the topic at hand, and I knew this was going to happen. If you want a measuring stick of how over Dominic Mysterio, let alone what he's doing in AAA, which is fantastic, he was confronted by his dad, who is like John Cena tier perma babyface. Everybody loves Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio is dealing with his shitty, disrespectful kid, right?
Yeah.
And who's getting the cheers? What got the biggest pop of the night when they brought up Eddie Guerrero and Dom said, "Keep my dad's name out your mouth." And he got
incredible.
the pop.
Yeah.
Over
was
Rey Mysterio.
Little side comment here. Okay, I know this has nothing to do with the topic at hand, but as I said to Jake on our Raw review, but like if they go to cheer Dominic over Ray if they have their match at Survivor Series, and I would honestly consider turning Ray heel because we know Dominic's turning babyface soon.
But
so Dominic
here's the thing.
a point, like he was right about his dad being this asshole.
Here's the thing.
I wouldn't.
Here's the paradox of that though.
Yeah.
If you turn Dominic face, you'll ruin him. Because the character that people love is the heel that he is right now. He literally is.
I agree with you on that, but they're going to turn him face.
No. Leave him the dickhead that he is, and just start putting him with bigger heels.
What I think they're going to do is they're going to turn Liv face, and him being with her is going to make him heel, but he's going to be, face, but he's going to be face the same way Roman turned face by not doing anything. Roman never turned. People just started cheering him afterwards.
He's going to act the same way, but he's going to treat the heels like that instead.
Exactly. I think it's just going to be, he doesn't do anything noble. He's just going to be a dickhead that shits on the bad guys now.
We talked about Nathan Frazier being the guy to use to reintroduce new guys, right? Or guys that are returning in the case of Dragunov. Who was CM Punk's first opponent in WWE when he made his comeback? Not on TV.
Oh yeah.
At the Madison Square Garden house show. It was Dominic Mysterio.
Mm-hmm. You were there for that, right?
I was there for that?
No, Cody was there for that, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in person for that.
So here's the thing. And WWE actually pays attention to its history now. Thank you, Triple H. Next year, they've pushed Money in the Bank to the end of the year next year. It's in like September or something like that because New Orleans couldn't have WrestleMania. So they got Money in the Bank in the not Money in the Bank month, which is a lot of fun. We can talk about that later. Towards the end of 2026, Dominic Mysterio cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase on CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
That will be the most interesting because look at the character of CM Punk. We're going to talk about CM Punk later as well. But think about how divisive a character Punk is, and the fact that Dom is so over only if he stays heel. That will be one of the most interesting crowd reactions ever.
I honestly think it could work though. Like if he doesn't stay heel, I think like he can just be like him. But do it to the bad guys. I think it'll work still.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Like, don't change him, change his opponents, and then he
would you turn because if he has the same attitude though,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
still not going to be all buddy with his father. That's what I'm saying. Do you consider turning Ray heel? They did it with John, so
yeah.
I think they'll be gun shy because of how the John Cena thing went. And
so you think if the John Cena heel turn was more successful, they would have done a Ray Mysterio heel turn
so.
possibly, or
Possibly,
so.
yeah, that makes sense. And Money in the Bank is September 6th, a Sunday, 2026 from New Orleans Smoothie King Center. Just want to make sure we got that factoid out there.
Anyways, I bring up the Rusev thing to mention that he's not on the list because WWE haven't really done that much with him, in my opinion. And I am trying to be a little bit fair, but he is one of the ones that's come back recently. Conversely, and I've kind of got them in one entry.
Ray
but they
Phoenix
are
one though.
two
We'll get
two
there.
very different entries. I've got the Lucha Brothers on here, but I want to talk about them separately because they came in separately. Penta, on the other side of that coin, in that triple threat scenario with Dominic Mysterio, Penta is presented like a star. Half of their pyro budget goes to Penta and Ray, who we'll talk about in a second.
Did I mention Ray Phoenix? I meant Dragon Lee. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Dragon Lee.
No, man.
Dragon Lee is
close enough.
I will say, and this is going to be a tight one, situationally, if his situation keeps going the way it's going in the past 2 weeks, better than AEW?
I say right now, because it's only been 2 weeks, I think, AEW is better.
Oh, you're the other way.
Fair.
I go the other way. I think Dragon Lee, even if he didn't win the tag title, I think he's better off with WWE because at AEW, they basically were just like, he was supposed to be a big deal, but they never treated him as such. And then when they tried to, they made him lose repeatedly over and over and over again. And I don't know if that was supposed to be endearing, but it made him look very weak. And at least WWE's not beating him down every week. So I go with WWE.
And here's the thing as well. I say they didn't use him very well, but like situational promotion is a thing. He wasn't wrestling a lot, but he was in the LWO with well-liked people like Rey Mysterio. Like
I'd honestly rather be on TV more losing than not being on TV at all.
Fair. And here's where I'm trying to measure what I'm saying very carefully. He was part of the resurgence of the LWO, which is an old WCW thing, which was a tribute to Eddie Guerrero and a couple of other things. There's some good feeling behind that. They were never presented as the biggest faction on the show, but for a long ass time, probably too long, they were pitted against the biggest faction on Raw when they were feuding with the Judgment Day because of the Ray Dominic stuff.
Yeah.
So you're in the second biggest, you're a functioning part of the second biggest faction that is fighting the biggest faction. So it's not direct promotion, but like
that's fair. But
you were there. I'm not trying to counter what you're saying.
Anyone involved, but like LWO, like if you're just a casual, you knew Rey Mysterio, and that's about it with the group, and maybe Zelina.
Oh no, they could have done 10 times more with it. They could have done 10 times more with it.
Mysterio was just like that.
Yeah,
obviously everyone knows, but everyone else was just like a side character. Like if we're gonna compare like factions here, like at least with Judgment Day, everyone probably has a clue who everyone is in there.
Oh yeah. Oh
LWO,
no. When I say they're the number 2 faction, the distance between the two is large.
Yeah,
I'll be very clear on that. Now, switching over almost instantly to the luchadors that have been produced properly. Penta came in, had a story right away, was the immediate answer to Chad Gable not liking luchadors for some reason. They had a series. He's on there every week. He's got one of the best, like, okay, maybe the music isn't stellar, but as far as overall presentation, he's got one of the coolest entrances on Raw, other than maybe Stephanie Vacour, who we're going to talk about later. He's been presented well. He's not being presented as like, okay, here's our token luchador for the night. Here's Penta. He's going to go do some fucking awesome Penta shit. He was feuding with the New Day, which are one of the 2 best tag teams WWE still has on their roster. He hasn't picked up a title yet, to be fair, but he's been in the tag team picture. He's been in the Intercontinental picture
He's been
heavily.
featured heavily week in, week out. He's been a main factor on TV. Like you said, the pyro budget, they just upgraded his entrance as well. So now when he gets into the ring, the four corners of the posts blow up with pyro, and then he has laser lights in the middle of the ring. Yeah, so they added that.
I saw the laser light. They love that thing, eh? There's quite a few guys in NXT that are starting to do that. They did it with the MSK entrance back in the day. It's a really, really neat effect as well.
It is, and them having this added to it, that you can tell, like that's one of the things I like to see too, when they continually modify and add to new. Yes, they're investing, but like they modify. They did it with CODY. First, he came out of an elevator, then they had to make a platform. Wow. Yeah, remember they had kind of stuffed you all over the place.
We locked you in an elevator.
They gave us this crazy kind of like, hey, here it goes, and then nothing. So they didn't want him to come out of a ramp anymore. They just put smoke around Cody Rhodes ONIDI. I like the way that they developed Penta's entrance. Like as the weeks go on, you see them tweak little things and add to it and develop and you know, add more and more production value. You know, you saw them eventually add in different pyro and concussive blasts. And so here was the thing.
I do like that, but at a point, like they're gonna end up, it's WWE making a mistake on the entrance, and it's gonna like not be as good as it originally was. That's
the
why
Lucha Bros,
I would say don't fix what isn't broken.
I get that, because the Lucha Bros in AEW were exceptional. Great matches against the Young Bucks and SCU and Kenny Omega and Hangman. They had a really great series there. And then doing this stuff with the Triangle, whatever it was, Triangle Madness, Death, I forget.
Death Triangle.
Death Triangle with Pac.
Yeah.
They Neville, they go ahead and they did really well.
Neville Oakenshield. Looks like one of the Beatles now.
Right. So Penta goes ahead, and short hair, you know, Pac and all. No, but Penta goes ahead and he started to make like a bit of a singles run when Phoenix was out, and he faced Cody Rhodes. And that when he was really doing the American Nightmare stuff too. But that didn't last long. Then they gave Penta his special finish back where he was breaking arms, just like Lucha Underground. And then he was breaking people's arms and they weren't doing anything and they weren't following up on it. And the guy was like, oh, my arm is broken. Then next week he comes out in a sling. And then the week after that, they were perfectly fine. So they couldn't even keep up like the illusion for Penta. Ray Phoenix, I saw him have the best match I've seen in AEW to this day with fucking Jungle Boy. It was Grand Slam. It was Rampage. And Ray Phoenix made the audience go silent. He shushed everybody. They got really quiet. Crazy when you do that. Like you can hear a pin drop in the arena. Everybody was silent. It's like you sucked the air out of the room. And he chopped Jungle Boy, and we heard it from the front to the back. It echoed. Just such a cool thing when everybody's super quiet and you get that. It sounds like lightning going off. You know, that Undertaker gong moment. So it was really, I was like, here we go. Ray Phoenix, they're going to push him to the friggin' moon. They're going to elevate this sumbitch. And it's good. And they did nothing with him either.
And you knew it wasn't going to happen because that was Rampage. Sorry to cut you off. But like,
Grand Slam, at that time, it was supposed to matter, Rampage. It didn't much longer. But that's the thing. Like, Punk just had Brawl out. There was a shift.
I gotta say, even when it was slightly more successful,
yes,
moving from Dynamite to Rampage, like, is a demotion. Like, if they fully moved somebody from Raw back to NXT full time, I'd be like, okay, something happened there. Maybe somebody needs to work on something along those lines. But moving from Raw to SmackDown isn't a demotion.
No, right? But that night
it's one side of the coin to the other.
Yes, that night was a 4-hour super show. No, it isn't a demotion.
Especially if you're a tag team.
People can argue it, maybe, but no. But realistically, no.
I think moving the SmackDown is some sort of cruel punishment.
Cruel punishment. That night was a 4-hour super show that they stuffed in, so it was aired all together. So that's what we got.
Oh my God!
No CM Punk, no Elite. They were all suspended.
Do you know what I love? I love how everybody said, like, up until the Netflix thing, 3-hour Raws are going to be the downfall of WWE. That was the biggest mistake they ever made. If we just get it back to 2, the magic number is 2. If we get it back to 2, everything will be fine. And then all of a sudden, Dynamite has an overrun every week and they have they do the thing where it's Dynamite and then Rampage for an hour, which is awesome for us in Canada, because if you switch over to Rampage in Canada no longer has it on the broadcast because we only have Dynamite.
Yeah.
So you alienate your audience and whatever the case may be. But it's the whole, oh my God, thank you, Tony. You gave us an extra hour. What a nice guy you are. Isn't long shows the death knell of wrestling? Oh, but we want to watch All In until 5 o'clock in the morning. It's fine. It's bad when WWE does it. It's bad when the Blue Jays and the Dodgers do it until 3 a.m. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We were on inning 17, I think, when we tapped out finally.
I
Cody
think Tony Khan booked that World Series.
Oh my God. Tony
It felt like
definitely booked the result. And then there's me, who doesn't watch any real sports, just going on Facebook the next day. Was there a game last night or something?
Was there something going on? Yeah, we were trying to do the full watch along, but we couldn't. We had to tap out. It was too much.
But here's the thing, right? We'll skim over it because people have talked about it for ages. But like the Luchadors were like handicapped from day one by the fact that TK fucked with Phoenix for a bit, to the point where he went out and put a picture of himself in prison in a straitjacket. Because Tony wouldn't let him out of his contract. They tacked on the injury time, which is optional. You don't have to do that, by the way, Tony. But the funny thing about that is, and I'm trying to find my words again, you gave WWE a chance to develop just Phoenix. And now, because just Penta rather, and then Phoenix later on. So what you've done is you've given WWE 2 guys that you can do 3 debuts with. Because you get the debut of Phoenix, you get the debut of Penta, and somewhere along the way, we're going to get the debut of the Lucha Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of backfired in his face. Also, he showed up, debuted on SmackDown, once again, to Cody's point, against Nathan Frazier. What was it? 3 weeks later, he was part of WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
3 weeks later. And again...
And so was Penta that year, too. I mean, think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Penta
but I just think, like...
Yeah, 3 weeks and you're on Mania. But to have both of them on WrestleMania is incredible. And the way that they went about it as well was genuine. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we have to get these guys on the card. It didn't feel like, oh, it was their meddling. Like, it felt natural. Like it was meant to be, if that makes sense.
I will say the funny thing about all of this has been, for them in WWE, we're going to put one on Raw. We're going to put one on SmackDown. We're going to develop them as individual characters, which is awesome. Penta's been in the U.S. title picture. Phoenix has kind of milled around a little bit, but just basically gone, and they've said, okay, you're Phoenix, you're awesome. Go out there and do awesome Phoenix stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing about it is, both of them on both shows have been like, okay, we're not going to team them up with each other, but let's see how many other people we can team them up with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what can we do here to make this effective?
Imagine there's some weird contract. Are we talking about Penta and Rey Fenix here?
Yes.
Imagine if there's some weird contract TK put in, like they'll let them both free early, but they can't
play together,
team with each other for.
Well, here's the thing though, like he didn't let Penta out early. Penta was done.
Yeah.
So,
but Phoenix,
I think,
got a little bit of that release pie.
When Phoenix was, and this is where you don't want to get into this, oh, I'll just grab a luchador type of idea, because they haven't really done that. But when they couldn't get Phoenix right away, I thought, please, please, please don't just team him with Dragon Lee and be like, okay, this is good enough.
Yeah. We're good
like
now.
that would have been shit. That would have put them under a microscope, and rightfully so. And they didn't do it. But you say, Penta got in there first. Penta got in there on Raw. We thought it was going to be on the Netflix debut, and it ended up being like 2 or 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
I think it would have been a really interesting footnote on that historical first Netflix night, but we don't know why that wasn't the case. Phoenix, on the other hand, had all the story of being like fucked around by Tony Khan, which made it a little bit extra, I guess you could say,
just
when he did finally show up. And then 3 weeks later, Rey Mysterio gets injured. He subs in at the last minute. 3 weeks in the company, and you're performing in front of WrestleMania. And this is the only time I'm going to bring up numbers, because I know people get sick of the attendance conversation or whatever.
But it
We're
doesn't
talking about-
matter in this context because you're
does.
talking about like it's not apples and oranges, it's apples and apple pie. You know what I mean? Like it's a direct
It's apples
one-to-one.
and rotten. It's apples and rotten bananas.
I was giving us the pie.
Oh. Pause. Anyway, what I was gonna say is he was leaving AEW, and let's keep in mind AEW this year did a residency. It was either a 3 or a 6 week residency at the 2300 arena where they were less than 1,000 people.
They've done multiple residencies that turned out to be that same freaking way.
Less than 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's been always. They've had great houses as well. One of them was brought in by CM Punk for the first dance. We don't need to talk about it. It's fine. But so many houses that have run less than 1,000 people, they had to go from arenas to smaller arenas to that weird, like medieval times theater that they were in for a little while to the 2300. Now, to be fair,
WWE
NXT has also played the 2300. Although the
and the
attendance
tarps.
but the attendance for, I will say, as the NXT guy, the attendance for NXT shows this year, especially the PLEs, has been horrendous.
Yes.
I would love to see NXT in a better place, but I will come out here and say that I would like them to be in a better place. Now, less than 1,000, less than 1,000, less than 1,000, less than 1,000. You're in WWE 3 weeks. You debut at WrestleMania with some sort of ridiculous 2-night attendance of like 120,000 people.
Yeah.
That's not a small thing.
No, that's a big to do. And
I'm sorry. I would rather if I'm a wrestler, and I'm not a wrestler. Anybody that's seen me knows I'm not a wrestler. I would rather
talk.
And this is going to be the stupidest thing I say all night, probably, but stay tuned. What was I going to say? I would rather lose a dark match to James Ellsworth on WrestleMania than win the AEW championship at All In.
I get that
because they carry so much more. I saw a thing. Okay, this is going to divert us again. I saw a thing that said all former members of the Shield are 6-time champions, and it showed Roman's titles and it showed Rollins' titles, and Moxley's got like four AEW title runs, an IWGP title run, and a WWE title run. And I'm like, no. That's 6, 6, and 1.
Yeah.
Go play in the sandbox.
Yeah, you can't. Come on.
Now,
you know what you're doing. Okay. That's not right.
I want to say technically neither of the Lucha Brothers has picked up any gold yet, but for presentation, for opportunity, for exposure, for this is a big star, treat them like a big star. I'm going to do 2 in 1 here. The Lucha Brothers better off in WWE.
Absolutely. They, like you said, so not only have they made them a star, both of them have been individualized as well. You don't look at them as a cohesive or combined unit. Right now, WWE fans don't see them as brothers, as they introduce them separately. People that know the Lucha Bros know them, but most people in WWE that are fans probably have no clue that they are even related. Never, and storyline says whatever, but they have no clue at all that you know what I mean? Because it's never been really mentioned besides a quick little thing in passing by Corey Graves. They've made little itty bitty quips here and there, but overall, that's been it. They've been very tight-lipped.
I will say,
like you said, they get the double reveal from it. They get the awesome tag team reveal on that. You got your individual, you got your singles, and now you get your double. Like, how cool is that? It works out so many great ways.
And I think they're both better off in WWE, but that's not Penta is on a whole other atmosphere than Ray Phoenix is.
Yeah,
that's fair. That is fair. I
Ray
think
Phoenix is borderline actually for me because Ray Phoenix hasn't really done anything of note. And like, was he really going to get that WrestleMania spot if Ray didn't get injured?
No, fair.
So like, I think he's like
Cody. We can't live in was land because before was is.
Yeah,
anyways, I will say, but I want to give a sliver of credit to AEW here because I'm dumping on them a lot tonight intentionally. Now they featured them more as a tag team, but I still think the way that they presented them in AEW as a tag team, they still did enough to distinguish the two guys as individual guys with individual styles They did do that. They didn't treat them as like, here's tag team member 1, here's tag team member 2. They weren't the conquistadors.
That's why I wonder if there's like some contract thing though, like I'll let you free early to Ray Phoenix if you can't team with your brother though, because that's going to be the money.
I do think okay. Other than the events that led to him leaving again, I would like to know how far they were going to go with that Ray Phoenix Andrade tag team, because for the few matches they had, they were really good. To say nothing about Andrade backstage and blah blah.
Hey, you never know. He could be back.
Well, maybe Tony Khan shouldn't contract tamper, but that's another story for another day.
But he went on a press conference saying WWE was doing it too.
Oh dear God! Well,
true. I forgot about that. That is a great point. They made a big stink about it.
They've got their own dollar store war games coming up. It's fine.
Well, to be fair, I honestly, this is going to be a hot take. I honestly think their war games match quality will be better than WWE's.
Blood and guts.
Because WWE, because I think WWE war games is like a more tame, like a watered down, because they don't get that extreme, and I think that kind of match should have extreme.
So to me, that's not a factor that matters to me, but some fans do want the bloodshed and do want the war games should be a bloody affair.
There's two rings, cages, and weapons in there. No one's bleeding. Come on.
There's a delay too. You got to remember.
Okay, but the problem with AEW, and this is a matter of taste. This is not a matter of me telling other people not to like stuff. The problem with AEW leaning into the come watch us, we're going to swear, we're going to bleed, everything's going to be a mess, it's going to be a horror show. You saw
that's a little different.
But you saw I get what you're saying, and I'm not even debating what you said, because I think you have a point, because I think people that are going to look at it that way are going to see that as a valid point, and that's why I said it comes down to taste. But because they've gone so far that way, look at the bad reaction they got when they went to the one city for the pay-per-view where like they weren't allowed to show blood on camera, and they immediately default to let's get Santa Sting and a fish tank. So like there's downfalls to that. WWE is, the one that goes.
That's my thing though. I think if you don't do it as often, I think War Games is a type of match though where there should be chaos, blood. I think those I think it's supposed to mean something. That's why I think AEW's version is better than WWE's, because I can't just buy the fact that you're smashing each other through cages and out smashing each other with weapons and you're not bleeding. Give me a break.
And I get that, but there's the other side of that as well, and it comes from, and I know this isn't what you're promoting on from with the point that you're trying to make, because I think it is valid. There, you have to be careful with that assessment where it just becomes, if somebody bled, it's good.
No, I don't think it's that either. I think
I don't think you're saying that.
They're missing the chaos. They're missing the chaos in general.
I mean, but then
WWE
you take a look at something, and I mean, WWE should lean into it a little bit, because they did it with the what was it, Hell in the Cell with Drew and Punk.
Yeah,
and we saw how effective it was. They need to do it more.
Look how memorable that is, though.
Exactly.
But a War Games match without chaos. I think they're missing chaos.
I do think that you can have a well done match and still have the criticism of like nobody bled. That kind of doesn't make sense. On the other side of that coin, you can have a match that's as bloody as hell, but if you watch the match, it's just a mess. And I don't
agree with that too.
Like if they go in there and lay a turd, and what I've said a whole bunch of times, Tony Khan in the back, nobody's cheering, somebody bleed. And it's like everybody's taking a nap in the ring, but because John Moxley slowly rolls out of the ring and gigs himself, that's what makes it blood and guts. I get what you're saying.
Not just the blood, though.
Yeah, there needs to be chaos.
More chaotic spots. Like WWE, it's literally just a match, but we added an extra ring.
Like Chris Jericho falling off the cage.
It's a steel cage match with...
Yeah.
It's a steel cage match with an extra ring.
And I mean, they changed it when they adopted it for NXT by the fact that it doesn't have the roof on it. So it's not War Games of old. And it is WWE. Like, people know the flavor that you're getting. Like, I I don't say that people shouldn't tune into AEW for the bloody stuff and like look at all the stuff that Hangman and Swerve did to convince us that they were anything with the needles and the bricks and whatnot. I'm not saying that I shouldn't now tune into AEW to expect that.
Yeah.
But there is a flip side of that coin of don't tune in to AEW to WWE and expect the AEW flavor.
I'm not expecting
now whether that changes your opinion of the match is absolutely up to you. But I think there's a why isn't this? And it's like, well, why
not just have multiple regular steel cage matches on? Because all War Games is in WWE is a steel cage match.
Fair. And that's absolutely fair. Yeah. But I'm just, and this is why I'm saying, like, I'm not saying that you're coming at me like a mud flap, but like I've
whole said point, this with Hell in a Cell too, and Elimination Chamber. You're gonna have those name titles. And there has to be some sort of blood. Like absolutely you have to see it a little bit. Like even if it's not pouring down you. You got to see it a little bit.
Somebody's going to get a nick. Somebody's going to get some color. The problem
especially
is like
something called War Games. I don't see a War Games match where, let's just go to World War II. Like, they're in a war, right?
Yeah.
Are they gonna?
Okay, well, but that's like saying everybody should bleed in a battle royal because it has the word battle in it.
Yeah.
Like if we get, I get what you're saying. But once it goes from the good point that you're making,
a battle can be anything.
Yeah, but once you get to the point of like blood and guts, like he's saying, like you lose that title, you lose meaning. So you start.
But the only reason they created blood and guts was to take another shot at Vince. So the whole thing is tacky anyway.
Yeah,
like it's a little bit of like what's his name, the shock dog, Howard Stern. I said fuck on my radio show. Daddy, are you paying attention to me yet?
Vince was shooting on AEW, right? Saying blood and guts isn't going to get you.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like when they did the first Casino Battle Royal and they had the big gold ring up top. It was all to do with Cesaro's interview about, Vince talking about the brass ring. Like if they didn't precursor, I would have a lot more of an open mind to something like blood and guts. If the precursor,
what's a good War Games match since it graduated to the main roster? Can you give me one that's memorable? CM Punk returns out a part of the War Games.
The main roster.
No, it's not. I will say.
Because you had the Brawling Brutes against the Bloodline. You had the Judgment Day against who? The Bloodline, or was it Cody's team?
Cody's team. Like that's when CM Punk returned.
The bad thing is I can't remember the opponents, but the one
that was a Judgment Day, right?
You had the Bloodline, including Sammy on one side, and you had KO on the other side, and the whole story was, whose side is Sammy really on? I will say that was a great match because it told a great story, and it happened to be in the War Games cage. I get where Cody's coming from. I will sacrifice a little bit of the, oh my God, it's a cage match, we should be, gushing a little bit for the fact of the story that they told, where right at the peak of when the Bloodline was WWE. Like the Bloodline story had been so well told at that point that you could trace their influence to just about everything that was going on the show. And I think that match goes underrated as a significant part of the Bloodline story, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it fits the role of what Cody's mentioning of like what a match like that should be. I just think it was that match
that story, but like it had a good story, but like overall, do you remember a good War Games match on the main roster?
Yeah, as where NXT had multiples. Like, remember NXT having Kevin Owens come back? That was great.
Because the NXT ones were better. Like War Games on the main roster is a watered down version.
My thing is like the very first War Games wasn't 2 teams of 4 or 2 teams of 5. It was 3 teams of 3.
Yeah.
And I miss that element of it with it.
I do too, because it was a more anything can happen feel.
I actually don't like the yearly occurrence, though, because Triple H said the reason why he got rid of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is because you can't just have a Hell in a Cell match just because it's Hell in a Cell. But that's basically what he did with War Games.
But then you'd have
to have a War Games match just for the sake of it.
Not to be a dickhead, would you not have to say the same thing about Blood and Guts because they feel like they need to do a Blood and Guts thing every year?
100%.
And the fact that, like, okay, you can go 4 or 5. I will say it's cool that they're. I'll give a little bit of credit once again.
I'll give credit to AEW. I think theirs has more case with a woman, especially, and maybe the WWE woman too. I think both companies' women's rosters have the case of the match happening. The men's is just more forceful for it to be going on,
especially in WWE. I think the women's stuff overall kicks ass. I think for the last few years, like the women's rumbles have been better.
Women gimmick matches are way better than men gimmick matches.
The women's elimination chamber was better. I was there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I saw the heel turn. It's fine.
Where was that?
I was in Toronto. You're going to do the sound thing, and I'm not going to hear it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, so Lucha Brothers, better off in WWE than AEW.
Yeah, you guys have it in Discord. You just got to hit the Toronto button. I mean, I made it that simple.
Penta,
Toronto.
Ray Phoenix, I'm borderline. Penta, yes.
Okay. That's fair. Sort of a pending, kind of like Dragon Lee with Phoenix. I'll go with a pending on that, but Penta, they've taken Penta and they've made him a star. If you've never seen him before, he's being presented like he's the Lucha Undertaker.
Yes,
which he kind of is.
Fair.
Now, speaking of people that could be the next Undertaker, this one's going to be quick because I don't have too much to say. Aleister Black. Now, again, a case of hasn't really picked up a title yet, hasn't really dug himself into a solid feud except for one, but they did. They didn't. How can I say this properly?
What are you going off of, though? His original WWE? Are you combining both, or are you just...
No. I'm talking about...
Since he
I'm
returned.
talking about people that have left AEW
and come
for WWE.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to roll 2 points into one. They have properly captured his presentation from his first run, which is good. I thought they were going to ruin it. I thought they were going to try and make him into something different. I thought they were going to give him Def Rebel music. They didn't do any of that.
Thankfully.
They have feuded him. Not with very many people, but the one person that they have feuded him with is Damian Priest.
Yes.
And I know not everybody was a fan of Damian Priest's world title run because some people have some nitpicks about it that are fine. But the fact remains, they brought back Aleister Black. They didn't fuck up the character from his first run. He's feuding with a former world champion week to week to week on SmackDown. He's also been loosely associated with the U.S. title picture, and they've just made the decision to pair him with his wife, Zelina Vega, in a pattern that's gone on through WWE a lot recently.
Yeah,
Rollins
Cross
gets
and
to work
Scarlet at home Temu version, absolutely. But
not even that. I'm going more for like
perfect.
they've let Rollins work with Becky in a way that worked this time. They had Punk.
It's about time.
Obviously, Punk was obviously the harbinger for AJ Lee, not the tag team champions, the other AJ Lee.
I know they're not a real couple; they're a storyline couple. But like, I think people make a good point that like they started letting everyone actually work with their real significant others because they saw the money Liv Dom had. I know they're a storyline couple, but I think they're responsible for everyone being able to
Rhea and
actually
Dom?
work with her.
Rhea and Dom too. And
not Rhea and Dom. No, but
Rhea
because they
is
weren't
the
doing
one-
a couple, they weren't doing couple things with Rhea and Dom. That started after the Liv and Dom thing was a success, and you can argue that Liv Dom is a better duo than
I think so.
Rhea Dom was.
I think Rhea and Dom worked when Dom was like a sniveling little character still finding himself. So clearly she was able to push him around.
To win, yeah.
And it's a horrible way to say it, but like she was the guy in the situation, kind of. That's really sexist, but whatever. So now Dom, as the Intercontinental Champion, now as the AAA Mega Champion, now that's found himself.
Yeah.
He's not the Joker, but he's found his Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Like that worked. Each one of them worked perfectly for the stage that he was at in his character.
Absolutely.
So I don't think one's better than the other. I think there's like a 1 and a 1.
I think my point is, I think the Liv Dom thing is more responsible for real life couples actually being able to be together. Because I think I don't think Rhea and Dom had that was responsible for that because they still weren't letting people actually work with their real life significant others until the Liv Dom thing was a success.
I just think it's cool, and again, it goes back to something that I've said on pods with Jake before. Like, you can take the worst booking, the worst match, the worst situation possible, and if I can tell that somebody's at least having a good time, it'll boost up that match just a little bit. Because there is a part of me that says, like, I want these people to have a nice day at work. And so these people working getting a chance to potentially work with their partners, and especially for Zelina, who wasn't getting featured because, as we said, LWO kind of hasn't been a thing recently. It brought her back into the limelight, and it made them an act.
Well,
because if you were
it
worried,
did, yeah.
if you were worried about them featuring Vega, well, she's part of an act now, which means they're going to push her going forward. But also, if you're worried about what they're doing with Alistair, is he going to fall to the back burner? No, they've decided to put him in an act. So obviously, they're going to put that act on TV.
Yeah.
So I think it mutually helped both of them, and it mutually helped people like myself who are really into the Alistair Black character say, okay, is he just going to be there, or are they doing something? And clearly, they're
doing
progressing.
something. Yeah,
they're progressing through this thing with Priest, because, as I say, I don't get why people hate on Damian Priest all of a sudden. I don't think his
it's not all of a sudden he's been getting hate. Even when he was champion, people shit on him. They didn't want him to be Money in the Bank winner, nothing. So I mean, he's been getting hate for a long time.
I don't think his title run was top tier, but I don't think there was anything wrong with it. The moment that he had cashing in at WrestleMania with the whole CM Punk, Drew McIntyre,
people said that was lame, and they gave the credit only to Punk. I mean, everything has its argument, but the thing is, Malachi Black was handled, I feel, much better overall. The thing was, people say, "Oh, well, he refused to lose, and that's why they didn't work."
Pause, and I'm going to say it loudly and clearly so that everybody listening to this podcast can understand me. You being pissed off that somebody else didn't want to lose is only a problem because you don't want your guy to lose either.
Exactly. So what ended up being the truth behind that is it wasn't him not wanting to lose. He didn't care about losing. He hated the bad creative that went with losing. He said, if I'm going to lose, we should be losing for X, Y, and Z. Don't just do it to do it, was his attitude. That seems pretty logical to me because look at on SmackDown, he's put people over already since being back. But I will say this, when they first debuted him, he came in, he cleared, Cody's clock. And same thing with Arn Anderson. He managed to knock him sideways. And I loved the entrance. He had one of the best entrances. I loved the theme. I loved the presentation with the skull. Like everything worked for a while. Then he got his own House of Black, All Rise. They were really hot in the trios division. Problem is they had no story for them and they didn't go anywhere with it. The only thing that they did over the next 3 years was add and then get rid of Julia Hart. And she, much like Alexa Bliss and Lily, kept the gimmick and kept it from Black and the House of Black. So now they had to be the Hounds of Justice, hell, whatever. And she managed to keep it for the longest time.
Okay, of course I'm going to say this because it's me, but I don't mind the Triangle of Madness. They're a fun little trio.
Yeah.
And I really okay, I was there at what's it called? All Out.
Yes.
Thekla's awesome.
And where was that?
Awesome. It was in Toronto. Not in the dome.
Not in the dome
that I can't hear when you're hitting buttons and whatever.
You should hear the damn Discord.
I know Discord's shit.
For me, overall though, I actually think this is more split because
more split?
WWE.
Fair.
I don't think WWE's lit the world on fire with them either.
That's fair.
Because that's why I said it's getting better. It's heading somewhere, but that's why I feel like AEW is on top.
Yeah. I think it's just for me right down the even split.
I could see that. I still think AEW did a bit more with them because he was a trios champion multiple times. He had the tag titles, the TNT title, I believe he held as well. So there was a lot that he accomplished in AEW, and I think WWE's headed in the right direction. But I would say AEW gets this one.
Yeah.
All right. Fair. Okay. Next one's gonna be a little bit interesting because we're talking about NXT. So everybody's gonna go, "Oh, it's only NXT." Was in AEW, came back to NXT, former North American champion, leading his own faction, also from all reports, heavily involved in the developmental process behind the scenes, working with a lot of other people, which is exactly what he said he came back to do. Talking about Sean Spears.
Yeah.
With the argument with, I think only NXT, I like NXT. I think it's the most consistently good show of the week, but I do think it's a valid argument in a way because not everyone that watches the main roster shows also watches NXT. I think it's just a smaller portion of the audience that will go ahead and check out NXT. So I think that it's hard to say it. Now this comes to like, where does he get more spotlight? Does Dynamite, like, did he have more like shine, and like, did he get his name out there more being on Dynamite or on NXT?
The only thing I remember him doing on Dynamite, and guys, please correct me if I'm wrong, the only thing I remember him doing is cracking Cody's head open with the errant chair shot.
Yeah, when he was a chairman, he was involved in the group at first. He did a lot with the one that was at the Pinnacle, or no, it was before that.
Yeah.
He was involved in that group. Remember, he was the chairman. They brought him in. It was not the Inner Circle, but that group around that time. Any event, they didn't do much with him ever. Then they brought him out at one point, and they were like, "Hey, look, we're going to give him one quick attempt at the title." Then nothing. He was better as Ty Dillinger than compared to even AEW. I'd rather him count 10 and skip around than do the shit he did. And I like Ty.
Honestly, I think maybe both lose here. Are you saying?
No, I think Sean Spears is a great character in NXT. AEW never had any character development with the chairman. NXT, he's the leader of the culling, but you also know his backstage ambitions is really what's driving him. He's got this school at Flatbacks, and him and what's his name? Prince Pretty there, the blonde.
Oh, Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze. Yeah, they have a great thing going. So he likes to work with the youth and get them ready.
Which is why I knocked down the argument of like, why would you only use him in NXT? If his primary focus now is helping other people develop, then it makes more sense for him to be in NXT. Also, having him as a faction leader lets everybody grow underneath him.
Yes.
We don't know. I can only speculate.
Tatum's been there for 4 years. She won finally under the teachings of the culling. So you could say,
but you never, like, he's one of those guys that's like, maybe he'll never be a world champion, but you'd still want to pick his brain.
Yes.
Because he's been this way or that way. So you look at people directly like that he's in the faction with, he's working with every week. Nico Vance, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley. Everybody loves Tatum. I think Tatum, even as a champion, is incredibly underrated in the ring because it's NXT. So he's working with them. He's working with them directly. But like, if you're a random guy in the back and you've already got, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, William Regal, CM Punk is there a lot of the time. You got all these brains to pick from. If all those brains are busy, you got somebody like a Sean Spears that decided he wanted to be there and like his main role was going to be behind. I think there's like, I don't want to be really cheesy. Like there's a quiet dignity to that. Like throw me down on NXT. It's where the development is happening. I want to help people as and when I can. He came in and initially he needed to make a statement. They threw the North American Championship on him for a bit, but I think his role, he's almost a manager for how little he wrestles.
Yes.
Like he's there backing up the girls most of the time. Him and Nico Vance occasionally have a tag match. But
if you need a good talent tomorrow to make somebody look like $1 million, you can use him. If you need somebody,
to be another Ziggler,
like
we've said, I hate that Ziggler is a term now,
but it fits so well with how they handled him. I mean, it's true.
But it's always that role that everybody kind of says, "Oh yeah, Ziggler was great for that," and then it's like, would you make him a champion? No.
But like, Ziggler, I say yes, and that's what people missed out on. Because look at Nick Namath. That's still Ziggler. He's just handled better. He's just handled in a different way. They're letting him win.
Well, Nick Namath, first of all, Sean Spears, for what his particular goals are, I'll put a caveat on this one because it's a little bit of a different scenario. For what he says his current goals are, better than AEW?
Absolutely.
Yes. But I think one day I hope to bring that to the main roster because then you can really, because it's just NXT argument is I think a valid argument. Like I don't want to discredit NXT because I again think it's probably the best show of the week sometimes. But
I get it. But you'd like to see him on the big stage.
Yeah. But NXT is a necessary need because him being involved is helping these people develop and hone their skills before they actually, need rehab work. Like he's getting them and helping them form their characters and their minds and their move sets, how they're being handled and booked and all these things. before they get to the main roster. Because if we wait until they're up there and now they need rehab work, it's harder to teach somebody to unlearn something, kind of idea. So I like him being there. Ethan Page outright said, hey, I don't know how to be a heel that I know I possess. He's like, I have the ability to do it, but I just can't bring it out of me. And he's like, and Shawn Michaels got that out of me, and look at everything that he accomplished now. We're gonna, I'm sure, get to him after too. So
when we say come to NXT and learn from all these people, it's not like we're saying wrestlers aren't great already.
Yeah.
It's the fact of like, okay, if you've learned from 100 people and you've got 100 people's worth of knowledge in your brain, 101 ain't gonna hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I do think though, like NXT is kind of overloaded at the same time. I think there's a lot of people on there that actually should be on. Like call up a lot of those women on the NXT roster. Triple H needs to be like,
JC Jane, Fallon Henley, Thea Hale, who else? I mean, Jordan Grace never needed.
Yeah.
I would even argue Blake Monroe as well. Like, send them all to SmackDown because there's no division there. I don't see a division there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. There's like a ton of time where shit should be done, and this is not it. It's like a lot of them don't need to be there.
Because Jade Cargill face? Who can Jade Cargill face on SmackDown right now?
Yeah, there's not many people ready. Nia Jax again.
I don't care. Okay, I'm happy that Jade Cargill won. I don't care who Jade Cargill faces until next year's WrestleMania, because my God, are they setting her up as the photo negative Rhea Ripley for that Spider-Man meme moment at WrestleMania?
Yeah, they want.
My thing is though, like just on NXT, I think there is an argument though that it's overloaded right now.
It is,
and a lot of people shouldn't be there.
Well, that's why I like the fact that they're giving Tatum and others these chances and going through with TNA and whatnot, because TNA being open gives people a chance to freshen up and not be stuck stale.
SmackDown desperately needs a women's division.
I think you're going to see it develop more and more soon. Supposedly talks are around Survivor Series. They're going to be having more call-ups individually, like at least someone else is doing a soft call-up.
I will say, after Halloween Havoc, and the title situations that happened at Halloween Havoc, the next week should have been the JC Jane and Trick Williams call-ups.
Yeah,
the fact that they're dragging both of these to one more match. I would say more than that.
Again, JC Jane's not going to light the world on fire on her own. I think there needs to be more than that for SmackDown's women, especially.
No. But I'm just saying, like from the NXT perspective, like they've closed off their stories. There was no more reason for them to hang around. I'm not even talking about what they could do on the main roster. I'm talking about to like free up, like you say, the log jam that is in NXT.
Then you can call up some people from Evolve. That's what you do. That's what Evolve's for. NXT.
Sure. Again, I do like the fact that NXT is the place where everybody. I forget what I called it last. NXT is the union station for all the brands. Because you tune into NXT, you could see somebody from NXT, you could see somebody from Raw, you could see somebody from SmackDown, you could see somebody from Evolve, you could see somebody from AAA, you could see somebody from TNA, you could see somebody from Bloodsport, you could see somebody from Noah.
Exactly. Like there's
so when they're doing all of that crossover is the last time you need to have a really, really clogged roster. So at the very least, but going back to Cody's point,
that's the issue with the clogged roster.
Going back to Cody's point, at the very least, you've got two former champions that have nothing to do in NXT. Start with getting rid of those. Does JC Jane take her group with her? Maybe. And then you sort of go from there.
I would honestly call up 5 women from NXT and send them all to SmackDown again. I don't think any of them should be going to Raw. Send them all to SmackDown because, again, name me SmackDown's women's division, honestly, or baby faces on that show.
Well, unfortunately, it's going to be Naomi. It's going to be Bianca Belair. It's Tiffany. It's Nia Jax. It's Charlotte. It's
they're
Alexa
not there
Bliss.
Right now.
Mia Yim, B Fab, Julia, Kiana James. I'm being a dickhead. Chelsea Green, Alba Fire.
That's the thing. It's like who isn't
Piper Niven when she comes back? Hopefully, best wishes to her. All that kind of thing. Like the names are there. They're just not jumping. So what I don't want to do
half the names you named aren't there technically right now.
I understand that, but like when you've got like I just named off like 10 people though. So like if you've got people up
half
there
of that,
that
like BFAB, come on.
BFAB's all right. What are you doing? Meechin's
Yeah.
all right. What are we doing? BFAB and
BFAB
Meechin should
isn't
be the
bad.
ones. BFAB and Meechin and Kiana James
Is
should be
BFAB believable to face Jade Cargill?
no, but
No,
BFAB
but-
is more than believable to
face
go
Julia.
and have to have the title so that Julia can be in the main title. Because then would I say send Julia after Jade Cargill? Heel versus heel, who can be the bigger bitch? Give me that match.
Yeah, no doubt.
What
all
the
heels,
problem
though.
is, and I hate to say it, but it's the same problem on Raw. Becky Lynch is doing great things for the Intercontinental Championship, but if you have a main eventer holding a mid-card title, the next challengers become less and less and less and less believable. So what she's doing is cool. It's like when she held the NXT title and brought it up onto Raw and defended it on Raw. That was the dry run for having mid-card championships. But the problem with that is, while she's helping, she's also put it in a spot. Do I think BFAB should beat Julia? No. Do I think BFAB should be in the conversation for the title that Julia is holding? Yes, because I think Julia should be in the main event picture. Like it's a domino effect. And while they with the talent that they have on SmackDown, they already haven't filled it. So it's clogged in a different way in just the fact that nobody's moving.
SmackDown's women's division is poopy caca. That's what my way to describe it.
Oh, false. They got Tiffy. It's fine. They got Tiffany and they got
A babyface
Julia.
Tiffany.
That's okay.
Everyone on that roster is realistically heels if you think about it.
Yeah, but
they
like
don't
she's
have a
babyface.
genuine babyface. That's
She's
why they moved
babyface, but
Charlotte
also
and
I would
Alexa.
love to put my baby batter on her face. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Next, I'm moving on.
We should get through these quicker. Where
speaking of TN, no, it's fine, man. I knew this one was going to go long. We're going to go for at least another half hour, I think. Sort of switching, not necessarily WWE, because Tony fumbling somebody doesn't necessarily mean that they ended up in WWE. Didn't know I was going to throw in this curveball, did you? There's two of them. Current, all-time TNA legend, all-time building block of the X Division, current TNA International Champion, the king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah. They made him look ridiculous, and
he was the elite hunter for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was it. And it could have been something really cool and great when the elite were all heels and they're attacking Tony Khan, and talk about a payoff that never got paid off. You know, something that never happened was any comeuppance for that. Oh, I attacked my boss, and then not only did we hit him with a microphone in the gut, then we do a pile driver. He's in a neck brace, and no one does a damn thing about it. So yeah, Kazarian was like a fart in church. Everybody held their breath as they acknowledged it, but didn't pay attention to it, kind of thing. Like you knew it happened, but nobody mentioned it. No one talked about it.
I think
that sums up his AEW time.
It's a really cool thing to look at Kazarian, because if you take out the middle chunk where all of SCU went and did indie stuff, and then AEW became a thing, and SCU, Christopher Daniels isn't wrestling anymore. Scorpio Sky is like missing. Put him on a fucking milk carton, and then Kazarian went back to TNA. But if you take out the middle chunk and just look at Kazarian as a TNA talent, he was like in that upper echelon of what would we call like the futuristic wrestler, the X Division wrestler, the template for 90% of the AEW roster. Because you always talked about the X Division, and it was always like the triple threat of, what was it, Styles, Daniels, and Samoa Joe. But right under the three of them, there was Eric Young, the Motor City Machine Guns, and Frankie Kazarian. So he was right in the rear view, right in the secondary supporting spot as that division, that idea, that style, that new, I hate to say new era because that sounds really cheesy, but like he was one of the ones at the forefront of that. He just wasn't AJ Styles.
Granted, no, he wasn't.
And to go from
he
that,
was never going to be that interesting.
But to go from that, because we know, I mean, fuck, can you come up with a better example than the Hardy Boys? You cannot do that shit forever. To now come back as the, and I know people are going to say this in tight air quotes, but the TNA legend, when he came back from AEW to TNA, and he came back right as they were becoming TNA again. Like, they dropped the Impact name. They went back to being TNA Wrestling. They took on a couple of new guys. I can't remember who they were. I think it might have been Sinner and Saint, but it was like the OGs of TNA. And that team was Kazarian and EY. And he was a babyface for like 2 weeks. They had that match and then they broke up and then he had the feud with EY. But he came in with all that swagger, all that, the king comes home mentality. And he's made himself, much like Chelsea Green said earlier, he's made himself more useful as the Miz, the Ziggler, the whatever you want to call it, of TNA. And I think his character work is fantastic. The swagger is fantastic. The fact that he won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy and immediately put a douchebag scarf on the trophy itself. It's fantastic. And no, he's not in front of 40, 50, 60,000 people. But here's the company that, I'm sorry, people don't want to hear it, is biting at AEW's heels. And he's as big a part of it as anybody else on that roster.
I still wasn't biting as a fan. Like, it wasn't for me. I didn't care for him, but you can clearly see how much better he was handled and carried in TNA. He was revered in TNA. In AEW, he was forgotten.
This one for me, I can't comment as much on because I don't watch TNA as often.
That's fair. But do you have anything to say about how he was used or not used in AEW?
There's not really much to say on him.
Not much to write home about, which is kind of my point.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything bad. They just didn't do anything. Okay, fair.
Because I can't say anything about AEW.
Yeah. And he was, I will say, he does hold the distinction. Obviously, there was a lot of crossover with the ladies popping up in Royal Rumbles and whatever. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, he was the first male roster member from TNA to show up on an episode of NXT when they had a battle royal, and what's her name? Ava did the same thing that John Cena did. There might be people from Raw or SmackDown, or maybe people that don't even go here. And that was when they were
a different high school. My girlfriend.
Do you remember when they did it for like maybe 3 months or so? But like 3 or 4 minutes before NXT would start, they would go live on the WWE YouTube channel. And sometimes it would just be like people filing in and finding their seats. Sometimes it would be like an interview that took place before the show actually started. And occasionally it was just people making their ring entrances. And I clicked over to that because I was just like, oh, it's kind of cool that they're doing this little lead-in thing. And all I heard was Frankie Kazarian's music. And I'm like, that's cool. I don't think he's going to win. And he didn't. And then in the same battle royal, Joe Hendry also appeared, and he was the bigger name. That was the bigger piece of news. But technically, Kaz did it first, even if it was just on YouTube. There's not too much to say. I enjoy. He's in TNA, not trying to be a main eventer. He's found himself a comfortable spot, and he's very useful in that spot. And I think you need people like that as much as you need people saying, God damn it, give me the world title.
Exactly, because you need somebody to carry the other people and make them look good, or else what's the point? What are you going to have? You don't have a division that way.
And again, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty damn sure there's some people benefiting from having him there backstage.
Oh.
Maybe saying, yeah, don't. We got this new deal with WWE. Sort of hold off. Don't go play in the mud. You don't have to do that. It's fine, especially if you're part of the women's division. Look at somebody like a Deonna Purrazzo or a Taya Valkyrie. They still have Athena trapped on ROH.
Hey, she's soon to be teaming up with Mercedes to take on, the tag title tournament. So we'll see what comes of that.
So she's a cog in the wheels so that Mercedes can cocksuck her way to a 13th belt.
Exactly. And who doesn't want to see that?
Is? Okay.
Come on. Who doesn't want to witness greatness?
All right. Let me just say, former TNA, former AEW, currently the greatest North American pro wrestler ever. Former NXT champion, current North American Canadian champion, current other half of the AAA mixed tag team champions, Mr. All Ego Ethan Page.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where you just got to say, like, he broke out immediately. He was there for what, 4 weeks, 40 days, something like that, and he got himself the title, and he just kept going up and up and up and getting more
Ethan
titles.
Page is just a WWE guy, by the way, though. Like,
he was having an identity crisis in the other companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Hey, remember, he was the karate
I think
man.
even under a Vince, I think a Vince would like this kind of guy. Like, that's a kind of guy Vince likes in Ethan Page.
Yeah.
So I think regardless, Ethan Page would have always been successful under the WWE umbrella, no matter who the booker was.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The thing is,
Well,
though,
I mean,
again, it's not just because it's Shawn Michaels booking him. I think Vince would have liked someone like that because he has charisma and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've made mention of this
That's
before, but they only used Ethan Page as a face one time when they were in his hometown in Canada, wherever, Calgary, whatever the hell, and they made him the babyface there just because of, you know, hey, proximity to where we are, hometown hero. My dad works up the street at the coal mine kind of promo, rah. And everybody got behind it, but it showed that he could be an effective babyface just as much as an effective heel. And if they gave him the chance, he's very charismatic on the microphone.
When he fought Omega?
Yes. And that was the only time we got to see that level of charisma from him, because besides that, him and Scorpio Sky did nothing. They were heels, but they were like nothing heels. It didn't matter. It didn't add up to anything. It wasn't important.
Go back to what I was saying a second ago about SCU.
Yes.
SCU split up. Kaz went back to TNA. Daniels eventually retired, and Scorpio Sky left that group and went to another group that they also did nothing with.
Yep.
And these were like the three guys that were at the podium at the press conference when they announced that AEW was going to be a thing.
Exactly. They were supposed to matter more than the pillars, even.
but then so was Britt Baker, and we see how much she's been used recently. Anyways, moving swiftly on.
I'd say WWE. Obviously, there's no question who handled him better. We know it's WWE. It's night and day difference.
Side note: we're eventually getting Britt Baker.
Yes,
we're eventually getting Britt Baker,
I'm surprised it took this long. Honestly, I didn't think that we'd be waiting. I thought that we would have had her in the company by now, and it's sad that she's just spending time wasting away and not doing anything, because that's literally what's going on right now. She's just being wasted.
It's funny. I don't
she's
think
a heel. She's a face. She could be either. She's ambidextrous as far as wrestling goes. You know, she can do whatever they need, and they're not doing
better
shit.
as a heel. Better as a heel, but I think she'd get a pop when she first arrived. So let her come in and like sort of ride out the babyface pop initially till the Stardust wears off, and then turn her heel. I think they waited a little too long. I think they waited a little too. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that, but yes. I think they waited a little too long with Jade, but we got there eventually. I think if we speed up the process a little bit for somebody like Britt, it would be great. I don't think she needs any more development, but I do think there's something about her that I want to see her in the weird and wacky world of NXT, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun, but it's like you said, it's not a necessity. So
it's not a necessity, and you know what? Sometimes somebody being there that doesn't absolutely have to be there isn't the worst thing, because also when somebody that doesn't need to be in NXT comes to NXT, who benefits? NXT. Exactly.
So
I lost count. What number are we on?
I have not been counting the numbers. We've only got 6 more to go.
All right.
The next 2 are combined. Obviously, Mike Santana is the next one. Mike Santana is the TNA champion. He's reinvented himself, not only like in TNA, but like as a person. He's spoken very openly about some alcohol and addiction problems that he was having. He's spoken very openly about some of the family stuff that he's been through
His brother
recently.
legitimately did not want to do anything. He just wanted to coast and collect on their laurels and forget their morals. And he was like, listen, I need to be more. I need to, achieve more than this. And they said, well, you know what? I just think we should do nothing. We should just sit on our ass and get paid by Tony like everybody else. And he's like, forget it. I'm out. And he went and bet on himself in TNA. you know?
But see, here's the thing though, like he was
had
never
guaranteed money there too that he left.
Yeah.
People forget. That's a lot in
yeah,
this
but
day
it
and age.
is the whole like it gets overused, but it is that whole bet on yourself, and bet on yourself isn't always a monetary value. Because I mean, let's be real, for the amount of love that we have for TNA and the amount of coverage that you and I have done for TNA and the partnership with WWE, the partnership with NXT, the fact that they're breaking their own records almost every month, it feels like you are going to take a pay cut going from AEW to TNA.
Yeah.
But like I'm going to take a pay cut to actually be treated like the star that I think I am.
Exactly.
Like that's like I don't want to branch off into this,
yeah.
but it's bet on yourself. It's, you know, self-care, it's mental health,
all of it,
you know, self-esteem, all the stuff that we've sort of mixed into these conversations in the past. The
Proud
guy,
and powerful
the guy,
LAX, he got a fucking headache there because he's, like you said, he was held back. I mean,
and it's not like he was bad back then.
His head and screaming blood and guts, like he gave it his all, and they just never did anything to capitalize on those two, and they always wanted them as a unit, not individuals. We know how that worked out with others. He wanted to not be the Jannetty.
Right? Here's the thing though as well though, and let me not be misquoted by anybody listening to us right now. I don't think Proud and Powerful were a bad tag team. I thought they were a really fun tag team. I thought they were way more interesting to watch than teams like the Bucks. And that's more so because the Bucks are assholes, but it is what it is. Like there's teams on WWE that I would rather watch Proud and Powerful than them. Like I like the Creed brothers, but if you gave me a choice between watching a Creed brothers match and watching Proud and Powerful, I would have watched them. But the transformation that Mike Santana has gone through since breaking off, since deciding I'm going to be a singles guy, since deciding I'm going to be the guy.
I'm a whole new person.
The guy's jacked and stacked. The guy's promo skills have gone like through the roof. He's
totally different.
It's a word we don't really want to touch on in wrestling, but he's more real than he's ever been. He's shared He's shared way more of his personal life than a lot of other wrestlers have, and that's a choice. And TNA being a smaller place, I think gave him the platform to do that. I don't think you get that. I don't think you would get that in WWE either. To be fair, let me be real for a second.
That type of character work, no way.
But like the guy radiates star now more than before. It's we don't want to use the airport test because the airport test is stupid, right? But you look at Rhea Ripley,
it does,
and Rhea Ripley's a fucking
metric.
star. You watch Mike Santana walk into a building. I was there for whatever the one was that they did here in Brampton. That's not Toronto, despite the fact that they had a CN Tower on the poster, which is interesting. But I was there. Santana walked into the arena. Was it cut off? Was it all curtained off because it was only half full? Yes, but the place was still electric when Mike Santana came through the crowd. Mike Santana just came and performed at Destiny, which takes place in Santino Marella's fucking gym.
Check
and he
that
climbed
off
the
your
bleachers.
bucket list.
Yeah, exactly. He climbed the bleachers. The place was louder than I have ever heard that little tiny building be.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy he's
over, but for a good reason.
The guy's cool. And, there's a difference between like, I'm going to cheer that guy because that's a wrestler that I like. And I'm going to cheer that guy because that guy has done something to get me behind him. And he's done that. And it's really cool to see. Is he main eventing WrestleMania? No. But him being the one to, in storyline, get that title back from Trick Williams, get that title back from NXT, and ascend and establish himself within his own company at the same time. That's a really, really cool moment.
It was a great finishing of the story.
He presented the belt to his daughter. His daughter was in the ring with him. It was very cool. It was very sappy in all the right ways. Couldn't be happier for this guy. And I'm not putting this one to a vote. AEW can't touch this.
Absolutely not. All they did was use them as bodyguards, as hired hitmen in the pinnacle. That was it ever. We never got anything more than that. And Mike Santana tried to no avail. Ortiz didn't want to do shit. Proud and Powerful, LAX, whatever you want to call them. Every single time they were just there for heat's sake. That's all there was to it.
We're getting Jericho back too. Hey,
in due time.
In due time. But yeah, Mike Santana is, I would venture to say, with maybe one or two exceptions, might be the sleeper hit biggest success story on this list.
Oh yeah.
I
can see that being the truth.
Put the next two together, even though they're not quite the same. We've got one that AEW thought they were going to sign. The dirt sheets thought they were going to sign. The Japanese wrestling experts thought they were going to sign, and another one who went and had one match in AEW, decided that losing to Mercedes Moné is not a career choice, and told them to fuck off. Stephanie Vacour and Julia.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
I mean, Julia was not going to be AEW bound. We knew that. She always wanted WWE, and so did Stephanie. Stephanie was featured in AEW, and she even diplomatically, you know, with as much diplomacy as you can have, she explained like, "Hey, I know what's going on here. I understand how it's working, but this backstage environment, all of this is not the place for me to learn and grow and develop in." She knew right away that AEW was not for her, and Stephanie made the right call. She bet on herself, and it led to her going ahead, and she had that great match against Mercedes. She made Mercedes look like $1 million, and that's when everybody wanted to hire her, because now Tony's saying, "Oh, well, we featured her on a grand stage." Well, guess what? She gave your champion their best match, you know? So quid pro quo, bitch.
That puts her in the Charlotte Flair category.
Sure.
Exactly.
I think they're both obviously better off. And Julia, she's United States champion, right? That title exists. I forgot.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, no. I was gonna say, let Cody speak. I feel like we've been steamrolling him a bit.
I think that obviously they're better both off in WWE, but this is another argument for another day. I think Stephanie Vacour, still a little too early for her to be world champion. I don't care if she got cheered, but she was off TV for a while, not to no fault of her own. But even before she was sick, she wasn't always featured. So I think it was kind of
well, up until she got sick, she was rushed. I think she had the most wins this year for a female, and she had the most wrestled matches out of everybody as well. She had up to this point the most wins on TV and the most matches wrestled on TV for this year. So she's got both stats
until she was sick, and I think
still she still holds it for the year. She still holds most wins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not most wrestled, but most wins. She still holds.
Let's okay, because I got to do this. Let me do the wiki.
Julia, are you just counting Raw?
It says televised from the stat. Yeah, she was in NXT as well, so it was just going by televised. But
when did she debut? On
not that long ago.
Yeah. Well, she made a full transition. Yeah, but she was on Raw in the beginning of the year, so she was featured as an NXT star when they went before Mania at that tour. So,
but a lot of her matches were on NXT, though, right? Again,
and Raw. She was doing both. She was doing the double circuit. So,
I wouldn't count
Julia.
I know it counts, but NXT, like I'm just saying for the general audience, I don't think people will go look at those like they will.
Okay, but
but it doesn't matter because you were still seeing her on Raw.
It does a little bit.
The general audience. I get what you're saying. The general audience didn't see her in NXT. There has to be a turnaround at some point, and again, I'm using your point to sort of shout into the void. The general audience has to understand that NXT exists whether you decide to watch it or not.
Yeah,
like
true,
the WWE. The WWE has to
She's good in NXT. Put the title on her. That's not how it works.
Maybe it is.
That's pretty much how it always goes. I mean, somebody that's over.
I mean, okay. Again, to Jake's point before, though, Athena is trapped in ROH purgatory, and all of a sudden she's randomly been thrown into a tag title tournament on Dynamite.
I know she got sick, but she wasn't on TV a lot to be winning the world
title.
She
was, though. I don't know. She was. That's what we're telling you. She was the most winningest superstar.
You're saying she makes the most sense with the title. Again, but you avoid this question. Where are the stories for her? With that title.
Right now, she's the champ. She's facing anybody that wants it. And that's beyond the scope of this episode. But point being, she was featured much better here.
Because you're just comparing like how she's booked. Just because you're the champion doesn't mean you're a star.
No, but she was a star, and that's why they gave her the belt. That's the point. And now she's making other people a star. She's genuinely been
a tag team with Nikki Bella, who is way more known WWE
exactly,
name
and that's why it's a brilliant move to team her up with Stephanie. They get the it is because now Stephanie gets the rub of Nikki's audience.
Sick of Nikki.
You'd be
Okay,
surprised.
but that doesn't change
That doesn't negate
what
the
a
star
large
power.
character.
You can't say she has star
I
power
agree.
and then
I
say
don't
she's
think
a negative.
You can't put her.
You can't
You
have it
can't
both
put her
ways.
as a world champ. No, you can't put her as a world champion, but stick her in a tag team every week. You can't have that.
Right. Any event.
Yeah.
That doesn't
I
make
mean,
much
yeah,
sense.
but every world. Yeah, I know, because every world champion should just be in tag teams every week. You know.
But she's not in tag teams every week. They're telling a story right now between Judgment Day.
CM Punk was in a tag team match against a tag team on Raw literally this past Monday.
Exactly. So that doesn't make any sense at all. So you're saying the same thing for Punk and the same thing for every champion at this point. It
But
just sounds
CM
like you got
Punk
a
is,
hard on to
known-
hate Stephanie. That's what it seems like.
We're comparing. See, this is where you're reaching. You're reaching.
Well, Stephanie's the only one you've argued against.
But CM Punk is a way bigger star than Stephanie, and
But that's irrelevant
Yeah,
here.
and-
You made the point that, a champion can't be in a tag match. That makes them suddenly irrelevant, and that's not the case at all. Her being in a tag match with Nikki Bella is only elevating her stock because now she's being exposed to Nikki Bella fans.
What's the title, though? What's Stephanie's story singles-wise with the title? She's
Her story
teaming
right
with
now
Nikki to take down the Judgment Day. What's the future for her? Because I can name a lot of superstars on that roster that have more of a case for the title right now.
She's literally defending that title against Raquel Rodriguez next week, who herself has a partner, which necessitates her to have some backup as well.
Exactly. So everything has made perfectly logical sense here. It's literally been like, A plus B equals C kind of thing, A squared, B squared, C squared. It's just, it all lines up. Raquel has backup, so she gets backup. They need to have a tag match because she's got a partner. All she's doing is evening the playing field. Her being the title holder and being in a tag match doesn't devalue her or the title. It furthers the story, and the story is Judgment Day has tried to make her miserable since she debuted. Her and Roxanne started a feud on NXT that carried and boiled over to the main roster. They've been battling each other since, back and forth. Stephanie's always gotten the better of Roxanne, so Roxanne's like, fuck you, I'm going to get Raquel, and Raquel's going to beat your ass.
I think Io could have the world title right now because I think that's more justified for
But so you're saying you want to just watch the same thing over and over again?
No,
we just had Io for 6 months. We saw her feud with tons of different people. She went from Bianca to Rhea to Roxanne to Raquel. She feuded with Liv. She feuded with a shit ton of people. Io faced at least 10 or 12 different competitors in that time. So what do we get with Io? Just more of the same. At least Stephanie brings us new matches, new challengers, new
But there's more cases
opponents.
for her the title, regardless if it's the same thing or not. Like her and Asuka have a reason to be feuding for the world title because Asuka
but they can
doesn't
feud
like
without
Io's.
the title. You can give the title to somebody else.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in there. Io and Asuka have a reason to feud. There's nothing to say that feud needs to be over the title.
Yeah.
People
Sorry,
that have
I think you're wrong here, bud. I think everything you said got proved wrong.
I don't
love you, bud, but it didn't get beat
here.
here.
I don't think he's wrong. I think there's a job that WWE has to do that they haven't fully done yet.
Yeah.
Of telling people, because of the view of how NXT is, and I know that view is still there. I'm not saying that the position you're taking is invalid because WWE hasn't done a good enough job. WWE needs to ball up and tell its audience NXT is part of WWE. If you don't watch NXT, that's fine, but you're missing part of the story. Because as I was about to say, Stephanie Vacour and Julia, their wiki, since not even going to AEW at all. Julia is the US champion, former NXT women's champion. Stephanie Vacour is the former North American champion, NXT women's champion, first person ever to hold both of those titles at the same time, current crown jewel champion, current world champion. She has feuded with a lot of the people that are specifically on the Raw women's roster in NXT. WWE's job now is to tell its audience, and they haven't done it yet, the history and the stories and the lineage and all that happens in NXT is part of the WWE story. If you don't watch NXT, that's fine, but you're going to miss part of the story. I understand where you're coming from because WWE hasn't done that well enough or bluntly enough yet. But there has to become a point where we either fully acknowledge NXT history or
But there's
pretend
been
that
no real build with her. I really don't think there's been a
There
real
has
build
been.
with her.
He just
since
told you
her
everything for
whole
the last
call-up in
90
June.
seconds. It's like you're sticking your fingers in your ears and going la 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 la. He just told you every single reason as to why. Grand Slam
Again, I don't give a
champion.
shit if she was sick. You're gonna keep saying she was sick. Okay, yeah, she was sick. I feel bad for that. That's not a fault of her own, but she wasn't on TV to get those opportunities. I don't care. I really do not.
No one said
care.
anything about her being sick. We said she's the first ever dual champ. She won the Grand Slam, so at Crown Jewel she was awarded over the
Okay,
SmackDown champ.
okay.
So she beat Tiffany as well. Like that
Okay,
means
tell me
something.
why she should be world champion right now, though. Tell me
Everything
why
we
she
just
should be
told you for the
world
last 10
champion.
minutes. Literally
Because
every
she
single
won this
reason.
match means no, she should not be world champion right now. I digress though.
Okay, let me ask you something, right? Pull out somebody that I'm not exactly a fan of. Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair unfortunately got injured at last year's WrestleMania, right? She's been out for a while. She's been dealing with stuff with her hand. Her hand's all fucked up. Horrible, terrible. Best wishes to her. You telling me they don't bring her back after being gone a full year and drop her back in the world title picture on her debut back?
Repeat that again. You cut out.
Sorry. The Bianca Belair situation. Bianca Belair. I think we use Liv Morgan as an example way too much, so I'm trying to pick a different example. Bianca Belair injured her hand at WrestleMania in the triple threat. Hasn't been seen in ring since. We've had updates on her. She's shown up for various other things like documentaries and whatever. She's been dealing with the injury with her fingers or her hand or whatever. Very, very terrible. Hope she's okay. Hope she recovers. Hope she comes back and all that kind of thing. Because right now of the situation or the lack thereof that you mentioned before on SmackDown specifically, not having a incredibly robust women's roster. She's been gone for a year, which means she hasn't been able to build any story for a full year. Like you said about Stephanie being sick, the injury is clearly not Bianca Belair's fault. But you know when she comes back after being gone a year, they're going to slam dunk her back in the main title picture right away.
I think that's kind of unfair though, because again, there's that instant story there with Jade because she's not going to like Jade's actions. So she's going to confront her about that, right? So I think also Bianca is more well known than Stephanie to just shoot into a world title match, not someone that was called up and won a battle at Evolution. I just don't see why she needed it this early on.
All right, that's fair. No, I was going more to the point of like you were saying like she'd been gone for a while, so there's been no story built. There's a story with Bianca's case where it was put on the shelf, and after a year, maybe there's 100 other people I want to see Jade face because she's the one that's been there that's made the story. I'm trying to build.
Everybody else has made the sacrifices. Everybody else maybe.
Ron Breaker had more of a case to get shot right to the world title scene than Stephanie Baker did. But Braun Breaker had to go through the mid card titles, stuff like that. He had to go through all that, and he was on the roster for a while, and he still doesn't have a world title to his name. So why did Stephanie get that treatment that Braun Breaker didn't?
Because of all the reasons we told you before, and you ignore to hear.
Because until Seth Rollins got injured,
Braun Breaker's accomplishments in NXT, he should be world champion right now.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. No, you've made a good point here. Because how can I say this without sounding
Bingo.
like how can I say this without sounding like I'm dicking on Braun Breaker? Until Seth Rollins got injured, Braun Breaker was in a prominent faction, headlining all the shows with Seth Rollins, but
they were losing.
But they weren't going to do that turn for a while. So Braun Breaker, he might get it sooner now because he got hurt. Punk's going to have a short-term title run, but Braun Breaker still.
He wasn't made to be the world. He wasn't made to be the world champion. I think he should be world champion, by the way, if for my own 2 cents. But in the where he was and where he got soaked up into the vision type of thing, he's playing backup to Seth Rollins, who's a much more, to your point, much more established character and all that sort of thing. He's in a faction as like the hired goons, like the Simpsons meme or whatever. he was in a subservient role in the most prominent faction on the thing at the time. His place, the storyline place that he was in, is why he wasn't, because he was in a group that was led by the guy that was already holding the title.
I
He
think
was
Stephanie should have had a major mid-card run first with like the
She
IC
didn't need
title or
to.
SmackDown
That's the
with
point.
it,
She was already
I
having
think
matches, and she went through the other realms by going ahead and she won
I
the
think
Battle
she could have
Royal.
done better. I think honestly, the United States title would have been better on her right now, right? Because she's doing such a great job with the women's world title.
Maybe, but she didn't need that. She was elevated above it. She's more over than.
I will say, okay, hold on. I will say, if things were different, if things happened in a different order and you had Becky with the Intercontinental Championship like she has it right now, I would 100% go for Stephanie Vacour being the one to unseat Becky Lynch for the IC title.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have worked, but that wasn't the reality we're given. And she was elevated in such a way that it worked out. She has been given every week a great match. She won. She had a match. She won. She kept continuing on. She got over with the crowd. They let her cut these really impassioned promos each week and vignettes that showcased her history through Chile, all her sacrifices, everything. So she became endeared to the crowd. The crowd started to support her. She ended up winning the Battle Royal. Then from there, she gets the title.
Her pops aren't as massive as you think. They're there, but they're not like overwhelmingly good.
Okay, but that doesn't change the matter that I still think she deserved the title. That doesn't. She could be getting one person cheering for her. She still earned it up to this point.
Yeah.
You just don't seem to like her. What is there to disagree with? You keep focusing on the point in time where she wasn't on TV for 4 weeks when she.
You're saying because of her NXT accomplishments, right?
No, she's been on the main roster since January. She came up at the same time of the Royal Rumble.
Like she earned it, and obviously she earned it in a work winning a Battle Royal at Evolution. Yeah, she earned it, but
so just the way you say people earn
that.
it in. But why are you going after her like in real life when it's storyline? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm not getting here.
Really? Like,
you're saying she doesn't deserve it because of the story she's been fed, but the stories have been good.
More time.
I don't think she needed more time. She was a double champ in NXT, and we've derailed this topic long enough. But the point is, I think both of them have been handled great compared to how they would have or were with AEW. Certainly, as we derailed this into the whole thing about Stephanie, but
I was going to say, to be fair, Cody has fed into the whole point of this podcast, because if we're at the point now where Cody's point of view is she's been given too much, then she's definitely been given more than she would be given in AEW.
Exactly.
Because her name's not Mercedes Moné.
I said WWE for her, yes.
Yeah.
But
no, he's just saying that you proved the point of the whole podcast.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool.
You epitomize the point of the podcast is what he's getting at.
I think he's come from a point of view that a lot of people would have. I think he's brought up some fair. I don't agree personally, and we're so entrenched in NXT that we hold that at a higher value than most people, and I'm willing to have that argument as well. What I will end it on is, if we're talking about comparisons and we're talking about how people were treated in various companies, etc., which is the initial point of the podcast, I would much rather land on, hey, this person was given too much than this person was given nothing.
Exactly.
Because we're talking about a comparison to a company that has stuck so rigidly to you get one women's match a week, if that it has become a meme.
I mean, Tony Khan fumbled. It was trending for a reason when Jade won the title, when Ricky Saints won the title, when we got these photos, because of these reasons, because of these people that should be stars. Everybody we've mentioned so far should have been relatively an easy star. And I know it comes behind, but it's
Pause.
You know, they've managed to be successful elsewhere. What's the common denominator? You know, what's the same in all of it?
Tony doesn't like women.
That Tony, you know, was the man behind booking all of them. But what works is the other side. So if all these wrestlers were bad attitudes, didn't want a job, didn't want, you know, all these excuses, but now they're working so well on the other side, it's hard to.
And the thing about this is too, and we've talked about it before. Like, I'm the last person, And Jake, I think you're on the same page as me. Cody, I don't know where you sit on this, quite frankly. I'm the last person that's going to come up and turn my podcast into a hoorah, beat your chest, like feminist platform, right?
Yeah.
No,
But when AEW came out so specifically, we're going to not be like WWE. We're going to be about diversity, and we're going to be about equal opportunity, and we're going to be about this, we're going to be about that, we're going to be about the next thing, and this and that. And the very first women's title belt they had looked like a wristwatch, not just because Nyla Rose was holding it, but because it was a tiny belt. And there's one women's match a week. And it's one of those, I don't want to divide people by gender. I don't understand anybody picking AEW at this point. That's a point blank period statement. Like, if your choices are AEW or TNA, I hope you choose TNA. If your choices are AEW or New Japan, I hope you choose New Japan. If your choices,
my friend, with the MSG Raw coming up with John Cena, he said that looks like trash, so he's gonna choose Full Gear instead.
yeah,
well,
that's
he's an
still
idiot.
baffling.
He's an idiot. But here's my point, though. I don't understand anybody going to AEW. Go to MLP. Go to Destiny. Check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine. Go to, I don't know, TNA. Go to NXT. Go to WWE. Go to New Japan. Go to Progress. Go to Noah. Go to Bloodsport. Go to anywhere. I double down on that if the talent we're talking about is female, because they have a 6-year track record that they don't give a fuck about the women. And you want to know why? They're overcompensating with the blood and guts match that we talked about earlier, with throwing 12 women in one cage, so that Mercedes Moné can say that she was in a blood and guts match and not take a fucking bump.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry, that's a side tangent of a side tangent of a side tangent, but I think the ladies are doing all right.
They are doing very well, and more than just 1 3-minute match. And
okay, so now let's dig into the photo in tight air quotes. The photo. Before we talk about the last 4 people, Ricky Saints, Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, CM Punk, all backstage, all with their belts. Punk put it out there on Instagram. Hey, well, look at us. And it's a callback, and it's a really interesting callback too, because it's a callback to a Cody Rhodes moment in NXT when Cody Rhodes was backstage with Shawn Spears, Ethan Page, and Lexus King's another one that should be on here, by the way, but I'm not changing the number to 17. But it was Lexus King. It was Lexus King, Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, and Cody Rhodes. And he just came into the shot and he said, "It sounds like we're all in a good place."
Yeah.
And he fucked off. This is the, Pokemon final form of that. CM Punk is a world champion. Cody Rhodes is a world champion. Jade Cargill is a world champion. Ricky Saints, I don't care if it's NXT, is a world champion. And they did it all.
Ricky Saints, I argue that should be on the main roster. He's someone
for sure he should. For sure he should. For sure he should. But in the meantime, NXT is going to benefit from having him there. Other side of the coin, and I know I've made that conversation a lot. I've made that point quite a bit. I do believe it's true, though. If there's anybody in NXT that doesn't need to be in NXT, it means NXT needs them. Yeah. And that's a different kind of important. Ricky Saints is another one that we can talk about along with Ray Phoenix, as far as Tony Khan trying to fuck him, not only not letting him out of his contract, but fucking over the indie dates that he had while he was still under AEW contract. When AEW came out and said, "Hey, we're not like WWE. We let our guys wrestle elsewhere, etc., until we get a prick up our ass about it and then decide that he can't do fuck all." So Ricky Saints showing up in NXT was a victory. It was fantastic. He's now the NXT champion. He beat Obafemi, the until very recently most dominant NXT champion in this iteration of NXT. Also won the North American Championship, taking a very specific record away from Ethan Page, who at that point was known as the fastest champion. Like, Ethan Page came in, had the North American Championship in a certain amount of days. Ricky Saints became the fastest person to ever join NXT and get a belt, because I think he won it in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was 4 weeks, I think, or like 40-something days altogether.
And you know what? At the time, it was a flash win, At the time, it was oh my god, did they just have Sheamus beat John Cena type of thing? But he didn't have it for very long, and then he did. Leaning back on Cody's point, he picked up the title quickly, but he lost it quickly.
Yeah.
And then he did go out and mix it up and mix it in and get into some. I think he got involved in the Ethan and Javon feud. Remember when Ethan like fucked up Javon's mouth and he was all wired shut and
Yes.
and whatnot, and he had a couple of attempts and he tried to get
that's
in.
right. I forgot about that.
Tried to get in the middle of the ongoing thing between Trick and Oba, and there was a couple other tries and fails and interactions and such before he went to, wasn't Halloween Havoc, what was it? It was the one previous to that when he finally picked up the NXT championship. So he's got 2 NXT titles under his belt, pun intended. Whereas what did he have? He had maybe the TNA championship, and then they partnered him up with Big Bill, and they wanted him to do a breakup story that wouldn't have made any sense. And then they had him go and cut promos with Edge that didn't really go anywhere. And then they shelved him. And then
the biggest highlight is basically taking on Sting with the tag titles on the line. You know, he gave Sting the belt before Sting, you know, retired with him. That was kind of it. That was his big moment. That, and like you said, a failed promo battle with Edge that pissed Edge off and got under his skin.
I mean, there's a certain kind of wrestler that's just going to love that they had a chance to wrestle Sting. And that, I don't want to take that away from him. And I mean, Darby Allin was the partner there, and I enjoy Darby Allin. Big Bill, again, kind of like a Mike Santana. The Big Bill personal recovery story is fantastic, but AEW wanted to do the most generic tag team breakup shit with him ever. So I get why he wanted to leave. They stopped giving him creative. They basically, like I say, put him on the shelf. Fucked with his indie dates because they figured he might go to WWE. There was that security footage that got leaked of him going to WrestleMania to watch Cody win because, you know, how dare you go to WWE and still have friends?
Yeah.
Even though Bailey shows up for Mercedes at AEW events all the time. and they both went to TNA to watch Naomi when she was Trinity and becoming the champion down there, and that was fine.
And that was good enough.
Tony's very salty. I do agree that he doesn't need to be in NXT very long. To Cody's point, I think he'll kill it when he comes to the main roster. The fact that he's not quite there yet doesn't break my heart, because again, there's another conversation about like logjam, like make sure there's a spot before you move somebody up. That was a big NXT problem for a little bit, but he's made a good first step for himself, is the way I'll phrase this one.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. And you see the success, you see what follows. That's all there is to it. I'm genuinely.
Did we lose Cody?
We might have.
Oh, no.
It seems that way, but the
I'm muted.
There we go.
There we go.
Cody,
maybe not where he should be, but a nice first step in the WWE journey. Is that fair?
That's very fair, right? We'll take it as a yes. So I went ahead and I want to know, you know, how much more is there to come with it? I want to see what happens. Awesome. And yeah, you know, I am excited because the sky is open for these people. We literally seen Ethan accomplish so much so quick. Now, you know, him being with Chelsea is fantastic. Ricky, again, he's on top. The Saints are marching. There is only room to grow. Pause. There's just so many good things to come. Pause.
I know they're both baby faces, but as we chug along with the NXT TNA relationship, Ricky Saints versus Mike Santana isn't a match I would turn my nose up at.
No, certainly not.
Very, very different characters. But yeah, you went from doing nothing to doing something. You could do much more. I think you will do much more. Okay, now we get into the real fun stuff. One of the creators of AEW left, re-debuted at WrestleMania, main evented 2 more times, won 2 back-to-back Royal Rumbles, defeated the most dominant champion in recent memory, and the guy leading the family that runs the whole damn company. And now he's the hood ornament. Now he's the quarterback. Now he is the one of one, the new John Cena, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Is there even an argument here?
There's not even a statement that needs to be stated at
I
this
think
point.
he earned the win the title right away, but he didn't. But anyway, I think Cody Rhodes is definitely better under WWE than AEW.
Cody's been champion multiple times, and we knew eventually he'd finish his story. They only made it that much sweeter. So, hey, we know that he means everything to the fans, and that's why he didn't fit with AEW. He really didn't. The fans booed him. They wanted him to turn heel. They wanted a bad guy because they were about the edge there, where he was sports entertainment. They wanted wrestling. Cody's always been sports entertainment.
I think and I don't know whether, to be fair, I don't know whether it was him or the company, but I think they did write themselves into a corner as where he was never going to reach his top potential. As soon as they did the whole, if I lose this, I'm never going to fight for the world title. And they said, no, we're not going to be like other companies. We're going to stick to it. It's like, okay, then he has to go somewhere else. Like, there was other things that led to him actually leaving.
Yeah.
But for me, that was the moment of like, he's going to go somewhere else at some point. Now, Jake and I have had this conversation before. Cody, I'm kind of curious to what you think. It's one thing for AEW to lose audience, basically for the fans to sort of drift back to WWE. It's one thing for wrestlers that have maybe come over from WWE to decide to go back. Do you agree with me that there's a complete other level of, I don't want to say victory, but there's not really another way for me to say it. The fact that one of AEW's creators decided that WWE was a better option brings a whole new level to it.
Yeah, that's definitely a win for WWE more than anyone else that they brought in because Cody Rhodes was initially a WWE guy, so is Punk. So I don't know. Vince wanted that bragging rights that he got a creator of AEW. I think that's why Vince wanted to give him anything. He didn't care what it took because Vince was the one that originally signed him and went to his house, I think was the story. So really? Vince was doing whatever it took to get the guy. So
that's it. But you know what, though?
When you take
what that does? And it might have been just sucking up, and it might have been, this is just how bad we want to get AEW. But when the owner of the whole damn company put whatever you think about Vince aside for a second, everybody listening, this is not me saying that Vince is a good guy, but it shows your value. It shows how much the company is going to value you if the owner of the company shows up to your front door, compared to you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where you've already said you are never going to be the AEW world champion. On the other side, you've got the boss knocking on your door. It's a big difference. I'm going to double down on it. It's not to say anything good about Vince. Nobody's allowed to say anything good about Vince anymore. Vince never did anything good ever. But you made something and decided to go somewhere else. It's the biggest. The only other thing I can say is, as far as the identity of AEW, and I know he's on a short clock as far as his wrestling career now anyways, the only thing that could top it in that regard is if WWE signed Kenny.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that they could have that would be like a big explosive, like, holy shit, I can't believe they did it thing to it. Would have to be
I'm saying? This is something
I guess that could work, but I don't know.
Wouldn't even be
I
as
honestly
big.
think Kenny is better off where he is. I don't know because he's at the
I'm not saying that it's better for him. I'm saying, like, as far as a WWE win.
Yeah, because where he is now, I mean, Kenny's a shell of his former self, really. I feel like he doesn't have what he used to.
I think he would be that in WWE too, which would just be like, then it will be labeled as a bad signing.
But I do think
the moment would be good, but
if he ever would, I'm not saying that he would. I think, again, how do I want to say this? As sort of a bucket list thing, he wraps up his whole career. He says his goodbye to AEW. And
I don't think Nick Khan's done until he gets all of them, though. Kenny, the Young Bucks, I think he wants all of them.
I don't want
he has them all over a fireplace.
But here's the thing though, right? If Kenny Omega is retiring, like he decides he's retiring, he's lacing it up, he decides he's got 5 matches left in him. He does 4 in AEW, runs out his contract, whatever his contract length is, goes over and says, "Hey Trips, it's a bucket list thing. I don't care who I face. Just throw me on a pay-per-view. I'd like to have one WWE match under my belt before I retire."
Yeah.
That pay-per-view sells more than anything else that year. And it would probably, and just because Triple H is petty, it would probably be WrestleMania.
Just because, just to
I
throw it
think
in.
just because he was involved in the scrap, I think you do it against Punk.
I
Hey,
love that. I love that.
not the
I
worst
love that a
thing.
lot. Because out of all of them, like I had pretty nasty stuff to say about all of them after like they fucked with
No, I
Punk
would
or
bring the
whatever.
Young Bucks in too, just to get that story in, because WWE doesn't play around. He's gonna tell all of them, "You're not gonna act like children here. You're gonna all work
Yeah, but I
together,"
don't.
and then you're gonna.
But see, here's the thing with that.
They don't have to mention
Here-
AEW by name, but they've
No, but
made references.
here's the thing with that though, right? Is even though the Bucks would come off as the bad guys in that scenario, they would still be benefiting from it because they'd still be getting a WrestleMania stage. And I don't think they deserve that personally. Anybody else out there that's listening that wants to fight me, that's fine. I get it. Here's the thing.
What's more of priority to you, not giving them a WrestleMania stage or sticking it to AEW as much as you can?
I think you do one-on-one Kenny versus Punk, then you have stuck it to AEW and you haven't given a platform to 2 dickheads that don't deserve it. Because after what happened to Punk, I had pretty nasty stuff to say about Hangman, about the Bucks, about Kenny Omega, about all the other people involved. The only one that has since shown a lot of like, by God, honest, like, the tribalism is kind
Resolve.
of, yeah, like we talk about it all the time, like all the live streams that Kenny's done for like gaming and whatever, and then somebody will start shitting on Roman or somebody and saying like, fuck
And
off,
he's
you
not
guys are
about it.
idiots.
Yeah.
Are you watching WWE? That guy's killing it over there. Like you're an idiot if you think he's been like I acknowledge his part in it, but I
Yeah.
think he's done the most to change my mind about him since, to the point where yes, there would still be friction. Yes, there's still a story to tell. I think you get just the 2 of them in a room together, they'll put something together. I think the
Yeah.
Bucks would sabotage it. I genuinely think the Bucks would get in there, say whatever they needed to say to get in there, and then sabotage it on the night. And I don't want them on WWE TV. Even if it was what I used to want, which was the Usos just coming in there and kicking their head off and saying that's a real super kick party bitch. I don't even want that anymore.
No.
But I do think
anymore.
I do think Kenny popping into WWE for one match before his retirement is a thing. And
Absolutely.
I do think the closest we have to that is Cody Rhodes. And of the 4 of them, to be fair, the Bucks, Kenny, and Cody was a WWE guy. So it wasn't just fuck off, I'm going over there now. There was an element of I'm going home.
Yeah.
Like
certainly.
when Cody showed up on NXT, and then he did an interview after he showed up on NXT and talked about like, my dad was such a big part of making the NXT brand when it was just a project. It was really cool to be there and be part of it, whatever. Like there was a homecoming element of it for Cody as well. The Bucks were so proud about like how many WWE offers they apparently got.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
And but they act like people on Twitter. They're like, let me tell you how many people I blocked today. I blocked WWE. Fuck off. Like, just fuck off.
Just fuck out of here.
I'm doing the Stewie Griffin thing. I don't want them to die. I don't want them to be alive anymore. Anyways, no, I get what Cody, I get what you're saying from a story perspective, from a get the whole wrestling world talking perspective. But at that point, who do you put with Punk then? Like if it's going to be Omega and the Bucks versus CM Punk and who?
Cody Rhodes. Because there was some
2-on-3 and they still win.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the Rock and Sock connection versus Evolution.
That's how it feels, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a great comparison. I like that a lot. I'm proud of myself for that one. Anyways, another
That's a
one.
damn fine reach back.
Going back to the fact that AEW can't book women to save their lives, we'll talk about one that they tried with and still kind of failed. Former WWE Tag Team Champion, current WWE Women's Champion, newly heel, gonna kill everybody, gonna fight Rhea Ripley eventually. It's Jade Cargill.
I'm sorry, I don't give a shit about her either way. She's not talented whatsoever. She hasn't. I can watch her first AEW match and her last WWE match, and she hasn't improved in the slightest. That's why she needs squash matches. And yes, it looks like her build is good for it. I'm sorry. This one, neither.
Has she improved? I think she's improved, but not dramatically. I think that's what it is. There's not a gigantic shift. She's improved, but nothing drastically enough to be like, wow. She's still unsteady. She's still wobbly. She still feels like she's given something she hasn't quite earned. But she's been handled as a bigger star in WWE. AEW pushed her as only the ability to squash and let her drown, as where WWE at least has given her chances to be a bit more humanized.
As a heel. WWE's going to follow that route now because that's why WWE wanted her in the first place. They didn't want her to put on 5-star classics. I think they wanted her.
She was always designed.
She became a big name in AEW.
Yeah, she was always designed as a female Goldberg-esque.
Let's put it bluntly, right? Like, okay, I wouldn't even say Goldberg. AEW booked her like Ryback.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but there's a reason.
In-ring skills of Ryback, so
well, that's fine. I'm not even going to fight you on that. But there's a reason in AEW when her matches were on, and I don't agree with it
because
you're right.
Rybacks are better. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's a very nice way to go about things. But people were saying #Ryback.
Yeah,
and it was like
that's not cool.
Now that's problematic and it's not nice, but it makes like look.
But
past
I get why.
Look past the obvious racism, which is terrible. Let's be clear. I like Jade as a star. She's got star power in the ring. No, obviously she is what she is in the ring. Nobody's fighting that, right? But
I think that's what Goldberg was. Goldberg had star power, like him or not. He was shit in the ring, but Goldberg did have that aura about him where he was a star.
Oh, fair enough.
Like it or not.
And I'm not, yeah. But I think they gave her even less than Goldberg presentation in AEW. In WWE, they've tried to bring her along. They've partnered her with Bianca Belair and Naomi, who are not my favorite people, but they do have something to offer as far as being a team, a unit. If it's a tag team match, you're not participating as much, which let her ease into things a little bit. In ring, is she a 5-star classic machine? Of course not. Nobody's denying
watch this heel run. This is another issue with her though. Like, yeah, you gave her the woman's title. She's a heel now. But one, she's gonna do squash matches now because she's a heel. But two, who does she have the feud with? Because as I was saying earlier in this podcast, that everyone on SmackDown is almost a heel. Candice LeRae is a heel. Julia is a heel. Chelsea Green is a heel. Everyone that you can think of is a heel.
That's
maybe
fair.
Besides Bianca, but she's not there. And Tiffany is someone that shouldn't be a face either.
Fair. No, I'm not negating any of that. It's gonna be Bianca when Bianca gets back. She's gonna be slotted right back into that picture. And I think one way or another, whether it's through a Rumble win, whether it's through a draft, whether it's through whatever, I honestly do think that they are looking at her and Rhea as a sort of a Spider-Man match for next year's WrestleMania.
But what is she gonna do until then?
I don't know. I absolutely don't know. I do not know. But
just keep running it back with Tiffany.
Put her in there with Nia. It'll be fine. Give her Lash Legend to the end of the season. But no, she's going to do the squash match. She's going to move into being a squash match merchant like she was in AEW. The difference was they never told you who the fuck she was in AEW. When they brought her in to WWE, what'd they do? They walked her to Raw. They walked her to SmackDown. They walked her to NXT. They made you think that she was a sought-after talent, a talent that all the GMs were fighting over before she ever even stepped foot in the ring. And then she went into the Rumble. And did she look good in the Rumble? Yes, because everybody else around her did their best to make her look good. And then they put her in with big stars like Bianca and Naomi and them feuding with the Kabuki Warriors. They had the big 3-on-3 match at WrestleMania, but all these things, all the interactions in the back with the general managers, all the different partner combinations, all the different stories of like, where's she going to go? Where's she going to end up? They told you who she was first so that when she goes in there and kills somebody, at least you know who she is. It might be only 1 point above AEW, but WWE still wins in as far as like, how is she doing? How is she being treated, presented, etc. In that regard? Is she all of a sudden Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Bret Hart? Absolutely not. But she is more of a person before she gets into that ring and has that 2-star match.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt about it. And that's.
And by the way, this Cody, this isn't me telling me you all of a sudden have to care about Jade Cargill.
Okay, because I'm sorry, I get she does have like the look to dominate anyone. That I get, but like she's just gonna do the same thing she did in AEW now that she's a heel. Again, and the title run's gonna be mediocre until Bianca gets back, and who knows when that's going to be because she has no division to compete against for that title.
Yeah, and then when Naomi comes back, they'll do that again. Jimmy Uso took a bullet for all of us for a little while, but she's gonna come back eventually. I'm gonna be real sad. I'm gonna be real sad. But anyways, saying nothing about how good or bad she is, I think she's been treated much better in WWE. That's the basis for this one for me. Leaves us with one. Leaves us with everybody's favorite guy, not at all controversial, got fucked out of his job at AEW because he was sick and old and tired and working with fucking children. Your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the Second City Saint, the voice of the voiceless, the master of the pipe bomb, even though he doesn't like the term pipe bomb anymore. CM Punk, current world champion, current, like the guy that even when he was injured and couldn't wrestle at WrestleMania, they said, we got to find a way to stick you in there somewhere. The harbinger
I would
of
honestly
AJ
say
Lee.
both. Well, because he was in WWE and still the most over star in AEW. So you gotta. I would argue both.
Oh, I love that.
Can we hear Jake here?
Where'd Jake go? Did we lose Jake?
You can't hear me still?
Hey, there we go. All kinds of sound problems tonight.
If only.
Anyways, there we go.
Yeah,
Jake,
so
what do you think of CM Punk?
Both.
Well, that's what I was saying. I said Punk himself has gone through the ringer, and he has certainly been deserving of some of it, but trials and tribulations be damned. He has given us some of the best memories in wrestling of the modern era, and I couldn't be more happy with where he's at right now. You can see the genuine joy that oozes out of him like sweat after an Iron Man match. He just enjoys what he's doing. He enjoys where he's at and what he's putting on as far as performances. He's connecting with the crowd in a different way. Like all of it is just working. And I'm sorry that we got robbed of that for 7 years. Yeah. I'm sorry that we lost 7 years of that due to some overwork and bullshit, but AEW never knew how to book him. They never knew how to handle him. The MJF storyline fell into their lap simply because of, oh my God, talking backstage, I met you as a kid. And that storyline came to fruition just off of that with MJF.
I'm sorry.
And Punk.
Okay. Cut you off for a second. Huge fan of MJF. What the fuck are they doing with him right now? MJF CM Punk. MJF CM Punk is the best thing AEW has done.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Point blank period. I have never seen, and this is not, when I call somebody immature, it's bad because I'm like the least mature person ever. I've always said if I'm the adult in the room, there's a problem, right? I have never seen more, and I'm going to use the word children, that are so unhappy to see somebody happy.
Yeah.
It is mind-blowing.
Schadenfreude on a whole nother level. And we've seen a lot of that this year with some really heinous opinions and standing outs. Unfortunately, though, they could not celebrate Punk and his I don't want to say failings, but like any negative thing around him, they wanted it to be magnetized as much as possible. And unfortunately,
the big thing
he's
was
winning.
when he tried to do MMA, and it's like, oh well, he went and did it, but he didn't win, and it's like, what have you done?
Yeah, he got
Like,
his
what
ass
have you
kicked in the
done?
octagon, but at least he tried something. He didn't even really like have his whole heart in it, but he didn't want to go back to WWE, and he knew he needed to do something competitive. That's just in his soul. There was no other. What is he going to do? Go to TNA at that point and wrestle on Twitch? Of course not. So he took what he could get himself into, and it wasn't meant for him. He was meant for sports entertainment, not sports, and we saw that.
You just said it, right? I'm going to say a loaded statement here that I don't really have any way to back up, right? If CM Punk had decided to come back to wrestling and he went to TNA instead of AEW, TNA would be the number 2 right now.
Yeah,
he's that guy.
He could have led them to a new era. Yeah, certainly.
Let's end this off by something. AEW will be bringing back the historic national championship at Full Gear in a casino gauntlet match.
Right.
Oh God, why?
Yeah,
because they need to bring that belt back because we already have all the other belts and we need to bring one more back.
And the news was met with a resounding meh.
Punk, he managed to give them some of their best, and them showing the footage of him and Jungle Boy was them at their worst, thinking they can capitalize
I still don't know how that's not illegal.
That led to their downfall. That's what swayed the ratings, because then people saw, oh, they are just petty. Oh, they are. Oh, it happened exactly as. That's why you're scared. That's why you felt threatened. Oh my God, Tony, and all of it fell apart.
Never mind them being petty. I don't know how that's legal. You produced a wrestling show with somebody's image that you did not have permission to use creatively or whatever the case may be. It was new footage shot after, like, released after he left.
In a public setting, it's security footage, so I guess they have right to it because they rented the facility, so there's a legal standing for them to possess it. Long and short, though, Punk is obviously handled, booked, and maintained, controlled, leashed, however you want to put it, better in WWE. He's made amends for things. Him and Randy have made up. Him and Triple H have made, like, you've seen genuine connections. Him and Miz, yeah, all these things.
He said he
apologized to the Saudi people. So
he, in the Ariel Helwani interview, he even talked about, like, he only saw cross paths with him once, but he even sort of had a you know, not a total makeup session, but like he had a couple of words between him and Vince. Vince congratulated him for, being back, not congratulated him, but like welcomed him back, was happy to see him back. They crossed paths in the Titan Towers gymnasium.
I think
the
only one in AEW he made up with was Kenny Omega.
Yeah, because
I heard Kenny Omega talk about
Twitch.
And see, this is why I go back to your point, and I know I jumped on it pretty harshly with the difference between Omega and the Bucks, but like that's why I do believe if anybody from that situation is going to be able to hook up with Punk and make it into something, it's going to be Omega. And it is going to be one of those cases of, like, we just saw the Dudley's Hardys one last match in TNA. You knew what you were getting with that match. If you do Punk and Omega, say it like WrestleMania 20 or 2026, 2027, whatever the case may be, you're not going to be expecting prime Kenny Omega. You're not even going to be expecting prime CM Punk necessarily, but it is what it is, and like you'll take it for what it is because it's still a thing. Anyways, CM Punk better in WWE, guys. Can we say that?
That's an easy unanimous hands down.
100%.
All right. Anyways, I know I've kept you guys like an hour longer than I meant to. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the surprise extra edition of Cody. Cody, tell them where to find you, buddy.
You can find me over on my Twitter or X, whatever you like to call it nowadays, at Judgment Day Era, and I'll do the same shtick I do on Jake's channel. You can find me over on my YouTube at Judgment Day Era, which I'll be posting gaming content soon. And who knows how long soon is, but that's a soon. And on my Instagram, no longer a Judgment Day show because, they're mad at me now because I say someone's return is going to be farther than they think, and we make comedy jokes on the channel. But yeah, that's at Cody _ONIDI _316.
Fantastic. Jake, tell them where to find you.
You can find me at Countdown Ended on Twitter, on Instagram, on Rumble. You can find us on TikTok. It's Jake.CountdownEnded, and on YouTube at Jake DeMarco.
Cool. And you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Jake. This has been Cody. This is the unequivocal top 16 Tony Fumble Rumble rundown so far. I'm sure there'll be more later. They'll fuck up again. It'll be fine. They're still in the mud. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me, Cody, Super Sexy Jake DeMarco, tag it out. Bye, guys.